Chapter 1690. Many disciples and elders had different expressions on their faces. They were all skeptical about Ling Shao killing Huang Wuji, but now that Long Outyen had really killed Huang Wuji, it would definitely arouse the hostility of the 9 imperial gates. The current war god temple was not as powerful as it was a million years ago. It was ranked among the 12 immortal sacred lands, but it was only at the bottom. All these years, it was only because of the alliance with the 9 imperial gates and the Taisheng Palace that it was able to recuperate. Therefore, the disciples of the war god temple were very aggrieved. Every time they met the disciples of the 9 imperial gates and the Taisheng Palace, they would choose to retreat, which made the 9 imperial gates more and more arrogant and domineering. After all, the 9 imperial gates' strength was very terrifying. Even among the 12 immortal sacred lands, it was ranked at the top. Could it be that the war god temple has no choice but to swallow their anger and sacrifice their own disciples? Seeing the reaction of Lei Qianjue, Xing Jun, and the others, many disciples felt a kind of sadness in their hearts. It was like a fox mourning the death of a rabbit. This was the war god temple. Since when could the people of the 9 imperial gates strut around here? When Ling Shao saw this scene, his heart couldn't help but burst into anger. This was the war god temple. This was the war god temple that the Scarlet Dragon war god couldn't forget even in death. When did they become so spineless? The courage in their hearts had been ground away. What kind of future did the war god temple have? Sooner or later, they would fall from the 12 immortal sacred lands and be swallowed by others. Along with this, Ling Zhao's feeling towards the white-clothed war god in the void also became somewhat disgusted. As the war god supreme of the war god temple, he must be responsible for the war god temple's current state. Ling Shao stepped forward and said with a cold laugh, "I didn't kill Huang Wuji. But in order to prove my innocence, I am willing to accept the Divine Path Inquisition." Long Outyen, Lu Wenjing suddenly became anxious and wanted to stop Ling Shao, but he was stopped by a look from Ling Shao. For some reason, Lu Wenjing's heart suddenly calmed down. He believed that Ling Shao would not make unnecessary sacrifices. It seemed that he was confident that he would accept the Divine Path Inquisition. Zhan Tianqing, Lei Qianjue, and the others were all shocked. According to their speculations, Huang Wuji was most likely killed by Ling Shao. How could he dare to accept the Saint's Heart Inquisition? Was there something they didn't know about? Very good. At least you have some guts. If it is proven that Huang Wuji was not killed by you, I will not make things difficult for you. But if you really killed Huang Wuji, then don't blame this old man for being impolite. Huang Tai glanced at Ling Shao indifferently. I am willing to accept the Saint Dao Heart Inquisition, but I have a condition. Ling Shao said coldly. What conditions? Huang Tai asked indifferently. This is my war god temple, not your 9 imperial gates. I am a disciple of the war god temple, not your 9 imperial gates. This is not a place where you can come and go as you please. If you can prove that I killed Huang Wuji, then I'm willing to accept your punishment. But if it turns out that I didn't kill Huang Wuji, I want you to apologize to me. Ling Shao looked straight at Huang Tai as he spoke. His eyes were clear and his voice was impassioned. Long Outyen, I think you must be dreaming. Who do you think you are? How dare you ask the Imperial Sacred Emperor to apologize to you? Zhan Tianqing's voice pierced through the air. His eyes were filled with mockery. That's right. The Imperial Sacred Emperor is a saint. Why would he apologize to you? Long Outyen, you better stop wasting time. I think you are the one who killed Huang Wuji. You better admit your guilt and not ruin the relationship between the War God Temple and the 9 Imperial Gates. Lei Qianjue sneered coldly. Shut up. Ling Shao glared at Zhan Tianqing and Lei Qianjue and scolded, first you talk about the relationship between the War God Temple and the 9 Imperial Gates, then you talk about the relationship between the War God Temple and the 9 Imperial Gates. Are you still the disciples of the War God Temple? Since when did the War God Temple have to rely on others to survive? Where is your courage? Where is your pride? Where is your backbone? I finally know why the war god temple has weakened. It's not because of that great calamity a million years ago, but because of you scum who only know how to bully the weak and suck up to the strong. Because you've been kneeling for so long that you've forgotten how to stand up, how to straighten your backs, and how to be a proper person. Rumble. Every time Ling Xiao spoke, he would take a step closer to Zhan Tianqing and Lei Qianjue. His voice was like rolling thunder, echoing throughout the war god temple. He was like an ancient saint who rebuked evil and ruled over justice. His entire body exuded an inviolable aura. The men of the war god temple don't need to suck up to anyone. We kneel to the heavens, the earth, and our parents. Anyone who dares to make us kneel is our enemy and must be killed. The spirit of the war god temple is to fight against the heavens, the earth, and all enemies. Even if there are millions of enemies, we will not hesitate. If we lose this courage and our pride, even if the war god temple still exists, it's no different from being destroyed. I, Long Outyen, am a man with pride. I'm ashamed to be associated with cowards like you. Ling Zhao's every word was majestic and impassioned. A vast force of heaven and earth surrounded him. It pressed down on Zhan Tianqing and Lei Qianjue, causing them to tremble in fear. Their faces turned pale and they couldn't help but take a few steps back. Well said. The men of the war god temple are hot-blooded and proud. We won't kneel to anyone. Damn it. Those who humiliate the war god temple will be killed without mercy. Many disciples and elders of the war god temple were fired up by Ling Zhao's words. Their eyes lit up with anger and battle intent as they glared at Huang Tai, Zhan Tianqing, Lei Qianjue, and the others. At that moment, it was as if the battle spirit that had been sealed away for a long time had been awakened. The blood of the disciples and elders of the war god temple surged into the sky and condensed into a blazing divine light that enveloped the entire area. Junior brother Long is right. The war god temple would rather die standing than live kneeling. Tiangang and the others were all fired up. Xian Wang, Wang Lin, Min Rou, and the others looked at Ling Xiao with excitement in their eyes. Good. 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 Master, did you see that? You have a good disciple. Lu Wenzhen was already in tears. He was so excited that he couldn't control himself. In a trance, he seemed to see the invincible figure from a million years ago in Ling Xiao. At that moment, the Scarlet Dragon War God and Ling Xiao seemed to have merged into one. Everyone was shocked. Even the white-clothed war god looked at Ling Xiao's eyes with a little more complicated color. This kid can mobilize the battle intent and sacrifice of the war god temple. We can't let him live. Huang Tai's indifferent expression finally changed. Chapter 1691. Huang Tai was also a scheming person. His actions in the war god temple seemed arrogant, but in reality, there was a deeper meaning. It was not only because of his identity as a saint, nor was it to avenge his grandson, Huang Wuji. More importantly, he wanted to use this to further suppress the morale of the people in the war god temple, so that they would not dare to have thoughts of going against the 9 imperial gates. However, what he did not expect was that Ling Zhao's words would stimulate the hearts of the people in the war god temple. It made their fighting spirit soar, as if the accumulated resentment had burst out. Other than Ling Zhao's impassioned speech, Huang Tai had discovered that Ling Xiao was able to form a kind of saint path resonance with the cyclic sky seal. Therefore, when he spoke, he was like a saint. He had the power of law with his words. This was a saint path resonance that could only be formed after refining the flipping sky seal to the realm of being able to do as one wished. It shocked Huang Tai. Huang Tai felt that he had outsmarted himself. He had stimulated the fighting spirit of the people in the war god temple. It was as if a seed had appeared in their hearts, and sooner or later, it would grow into a towering tree. If the war god temple really grew, it would definitely not be good news for the 9 imperial gates. An easy-to-control war god temple was what the 9 imperial gates wanted. Elder Huang Tai, I think Long Outyen's request is very reasonable. If we find that Long Outyen is Huang Wuji's murderer through the Saint Path inquiry, then I'll let you deal with him. However, if he's not Huang Wuji's murderer, you must apologize to him. The war god in white suddenly spoke. He looked at Huang Tai seriously, and there was a glimmer of radiance in his eyes. Huang Tai hesitated for a moment, then smiled coldly and said, "All right. No problem." Ancestor, the purple-robed middle-aged man and the arrogant young man behind Huang Tai were a little anxious. Huang Tai was a saint and the supreme elder of the 9 imperial gates. If he apologized to a true disciple of the war god temple, he would be a laughingstock. Even the 9 imperial gates would lose face. Say no more. Huang Tai stopped the two of them. Seeing that Huang Tai had made up his mind, the two of them could only smile bitterly and say nothing more. However, their gazes towards Huang Tai were filled with hostility and killing intent. For the sake of fairness, Elder Huang Tai and I will preside over the Saint Path Heart examination together. Elder Huang Tai, you don't have any objections, right? The war god in white said faintly. I have no objections. Huang Tai nodded. He naturally knew that the war god temple would not allow him to perform the Sacred Heart Inquisition alone. After all secrets would no longer be secrets under the Sacred Heart Inquisition. Long Out Yen, Zhan Tianqing, come here. The white-clothed war god calmly said. Ling Xiao looked indifferent and walked in front of the white-clothed war god. Although Zhan Tianqing also walked over, his face was a little ugly. Although he was sure that Huang Wuji's death had something to do with Ling Xiao, seeing Ling Xiao's confident look, his heart was a little uncertain. Vice Palace Master Lei, could this Long Out Yen really have nothing to do with Huang Wuji's death? Xing Jun sent a telepathic message to Lei Qianjue. I'm sure that he must have killed Huang Wuji. I once went to the mythical space to investigate and also found a few disciples of the Thunder Hall to confirm it. Ling Xiao did enter Divine Cloud Valley, and after Zhan Tianqing left, Huang Wuji died. The place where he died still has Zhan Tianqing's aura. Long Out Yen must have killed Huang Wuji and then framed Zhan Tianqing. He pretends that nothing happened. I'll see if he can still smile later. Lei Qianjue sneered, a trace of cold murderous intent in his eyes. Ling Xiao had just scolded him and Zhan Tianqing, but he could not vent his anger. His heart was filled with anger, and his hatred for Ling Xiao deepened. Therefore, he could not wait for Ling Xiao to be unlucky. When that happened, Ling Xiao would definitely die, and the flipping sky seal on him would definitely be handed over to Zhan Tianqing. That's right. Under the Sacred Heart Inquisition, everything that happened in Divine Cloud Valley will be clear as day. Xing Jun nodded and said. Everyone's eyes fell on Ling Xiao and Zhan Tianqing, and they all had different expressions. At this moment, the many disciples of the War God Hall, whether inner disciples or true disciples, were full of admiration and sympathy for Ling Xiao, and glared at Huang Tai and the others. They even thought that even if Ling Xiao killed Huang Wuji, they had to find a way to protect Ling Xiao. The War God Hall needed such a disciple, and they could not let the 9 imperial gates deal with him. Lu Wenzheng, Tian Gang, and the others' eyes were filled with worry, but they could not do anything at this moment. Although they believed in Ling Xiao, they did not know how Ling Xiao could get through this. The Sacred Heart Inquisition, these 4 words were too heavy, and they could not relax at all. Boom! The light around Huang Tai was dazzling, and in an instant, a sacred path light pillar shot up into the sky, containing the vast power of the great path origin, and the sky began to tremble violently. Lightning flashed, and purple thunderbolts intertwined. At this moment, Huang Tai seemed to have transformed into a celestial emperor who controlled thunder, and his whole body exuded a majestic and mysterious aura. Above Huang Tai's head, a purple fruit of the way floated, exuding a strange fragrance, as dazzling as a purple sun. Thunder fruit of the way. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. Huang Tai had condensed the thunder fruit of the way, so he could control the power of thunder. Boom! At this moment, the white-clothed war god's body also exuded a dazzling divine glow. Above her head, there seemed to be a golden sun, sprinkling down brilliant flames, exuding an incomparably hot light, enveloping her entire body, making her look like a sun god at this moment. This is the burning sky fruit condensed by the burning sky sacred technique. Ling Xiao recognized the aura fluctuations on the white-clothed war god's body. The two fruits of the way were dazzling, like two suns hanging high in the sky, and the mighty aura of the sacred path descended, instantly enveloping Ling Xiao and Zhan Tianqing. In an instant, Ling Xiao felt that he could not move, and the vast aura of the sacred path rushed directly to his primordial spirit, wanting to explore the deepest memories in his heart. The so-called Sacred Heart Inquisition was a saint using the power of the sacred path to interrogate the heart and extract memories. After accepting the Sacred Heart Inquisition, the whole person would be exposed in front of the saint, and there would be no more secrets. This method of Sacred Heart Inquisition was gentler, and not as cruel as the demon clan's soul-searching technique. It had no effect on warriors, and existed only to verify some things. Chapter 1692. Ling Xiao's heart was calm, and his primordial spirit was clear and flawless. There was no resistance, and the two saint path auras easily entered the deepest part of Ling Xiao's heart. But even the white-clothed war god and Huang Tai did not notice that Ling Xiao's heart realm had silently spread out. Their saint path consciousness had entered Ling Xiao's heart realm. Ling Xiao guarded his mind and only let go of the memories related to Huang Wuji in Divine Cloud Valley, so the white-clothed war god and Huang Tai only saw the scene in Divine Cloud Valley. A light screen appeared above the white-clothed war god and Huang Tai, showing Zhan Tianqing and Long Outyan's memories of Divine Cloud Valley. Zhan Tianqing's memories were very simple. Zhan Tianqing had been cultivating in Divine Cloud Valley, absorbing the tribulation qi in Divine Cloud Valley, and finally condensing the immortal calamity seed. Everyone saw Zhan Tianqing use the immortal calamity seed to break the formation outside Divine Cloud Palace, enter Divine Cloud Valley, and meet Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao changed his name to Hu Qing, and then started the battle between Zhan Tianqing and Thunder Spirit King. In the end, Zhan Tianqing and Thunder Spirit King were both injured, and Zhan Tianqing fled Divine Cloud Valley. I didn't expect this. Junior brother Long is so brave and cunning. Even senior brother Zhan Tianqing was fooled by him. Hu Qing from Thunder Hall. I'm dying of laughter. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I didn't expect junior brother Long to subdue Thunder Spirit King like this. Zhan Tianqing is so sad. He worked for junior brother Long for nothing. When the crowd saw Zhan Tianqing's pathetic state, their eyes widened and they couldn't help but laugh. Lei Qianjue's face was pale. Ling Xiao played Zhan Tianqing like this, which made him feel ashamed. But Zhan Tianqing's memories were very simple. Everyone saw Zhan Tianqing leave Divine Cloud Valley, recover from his injuries in a secret realm, and return to the sect. He did not fight with Huang Wuji. It seems that Huang Wuji was not killed by Zhan Tianqing. I'm afraid junior brother Long's memories are the key. Everyone could not help but tremble, and began to look carefully at Ling Xiao's memories. Inside Divine Cloud Valley, Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai entered Divine Cloud Valley together. Under the pursuit of the Thunder Spirit King, they accidentally entered Divine Cloud Palace, where they met the Thunder Spirit King. The reason why Ling Xiao dared to accept the Saint Dao Heart Inquisition was because he understood the Saint Dao Heart Inquisition. He knew that the Saint Dao Heart Inquisition was different from the soul search as it directly interrogated the heart. Ling Xiao cultivated the Great Void Heart Talisman scripture and condensed the heart world. The Great Void Heart Talisman scripture had reached the peak of the 5th level and was only one step away from breaking through to the prominent divine stage. In Ling Xiao's mind realm, it could be said to be ever-changing according to his will. What the white-clothed war god and Huang Tai saw was what Ling Xiao wanted them to see. They were all memories after Ling Xiao's modification, so Huang Tai was destined to be disappointed. Ling Xiao hid what he had gained from the Divine Firmament Palace. He only recorded a portion of his memories, including the test that the Thunder Spirit King gave them when he disguised himself as an artifact spirit, the dispute with Huang Wuji midway, and even the battle between Zhan Tianqing and the Thunder Spirit King under the guise of Hu Qing. Naturally, Ling Xiao did not change the part that involved Zhan Tianqing, because the white-clothed war god and Huang Tai could also see this part of the memory in Zhan Tianqing's memory. The most crucial part was modified by Ling Xiao. The white-clothed war god and Huang Tai both saw that after Zhan Tianqing and the Thunder Spirit King were both injured, the Thunder Spirit King became extremely weak. Ling Xiao took advantage of this and wanted to kill the Thunder Spirit King. The Thunder Spirit King had no choice but to recognize Ling Xiao as his master. The Thunder Spirit King became extremely weak. After Ling Xiao and the Thunder Spirit King left the Divine Firmament Palace, they happened to meet Huang Wuji, who was wantonly killing the Thunder Spirits. Huang Wuji chased after Ling Xiao and the Thunder Spirit King, but Ling Xiao was no match for them and escaped. However, in Ling Xiao's memory, there was a figure of a Ghost Devil Clan expert, who quietly sneaked towards Huang Wuji. Wuji really wasn't killed by him. That's the aura of the Ghost Devil Clan. I don't believe it. How could the Ghost Devil Clan know how to frame Zhan Tianqing? There must be a conspiracy behind this. When Huang Tai saw this, he was shocked and angry. At the same time, he was extremely unwilling to accept this. He had already determined that Ling Xiao killed Huang Wuji, but now that he suddenly found out that Ling Xiao wasn't the real culprit, he couldn't accept this psychological gap. Therefore, he chose to continue to interrogate Ling Xiao's mind and check his memories. After that, Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai separated. In order to obtain enough Calamity Chi and the Thunder Spirit King, Ling Xiao went to the Red Lotus Valley and encountered the Ghost Devil Clan experts who enslaved the human clan. When they were collecting the Red Lotus Fire and Calamity Chi, Ling Xiao used a scheme to steal the Calamity Chi and directly condense the indestructible Calamity Seed. He even framed Huang Wuji. This part of the memory was all real. Ling Xiao didn't make any changes. This was because Ling Xiao knew that the 9 Imperial Obelisk must have investigated everything that happened in the Red Lotus Valley, including the part where Ling Xiao framed Huang Wuji. Therefore, Ling Xiao didn't make any changes. As the saying goes, the more you do, the more mistakes you make. Ling Xiao only made some changes in key areas. He changed the memory of him killing Huang Wuji to the memory of him being chased by Huang Wuji and then escaping from the Divine Cloud Valley. As for the other parts, they were all real. Even Ling Xiao almost believed this memory that was both real and fake, let alone the white-clothed war god and Huang Tai. Naturally, they couldn't see any flaws. They thought that what they saw was Ling Xiao's most authentic memory. How could they know that Ling Xiao cultivated the Great Void Rune Scripture? Ling Xiao left the Red Lotus Valley and returned to the War God Temple through the Shangqing Ancient City. Buzz! In the void, the white-clothed war god and Huang Tai's Dao fruits slowly dissipated. The vast divine path aura disappeared, and Ling Xiao and Zhan Tianqing's divine path interrogation also ended. Both of their eyes were filled with doubt and confusion. The only difference was that Zhan Tianqing was really confused, while Ling Xiao was completely pretending. Ha ha ha. I told you, Huang Wuji wasn't killed by junior brother Long. Now everything is clear. That's right. I think that arrogant and despotic Huang Wuji was most likely killed by the experts of the Ghost Devil Clan. I didn't expect that the matter in the Red Lotus Valley was actually done by Junior Brother Long. Junior Brother Long can be considered a great hero of our human race. Even the disciples of the 9 Imperial Obelisk were saved by Junior Brother Long. But the 9 Imperial Obelisk repaid kindness with enmity and turned around to denounce Junior Brother Long. This is too much. After reading Ling Xiao and Zhan Tianqing's memories, everyone was almost boiling. Their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. Ling Xiao wasn't the real murderer of Huang Wuji, and that was enough. This stinking brat. Lu Wenjun also laughed. The big stone in his heart finally fell to the ground. Although he worried for nothing, he was also incomparably happy. Chapter 1693. How? How is this possible? Lei Qianjue, Zhan Tianqing, Xing Jun, and the others' faces darkened. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. They did not expect that Ling Xiao was not the one who killed Huang Wuji. Based on Ling Xiao's memories, Huang Wuji was most likely killed by the Ghost Demon Clan. They did not suspect that Ling Xiao was lying. After all, the God of War and Huang Tai had both performed the Heart Inquisition. Even Lei Qianjue himself could not have faked it, let alone Ling Xiao. Therefore, he believed that Ling Xiao's memories must be real. However, they could not accept this result. Impossible. This is impossible. How could the Ghost Demon Clan's experts enter Divine Cloud Valley? Huang Wuji was killed by Long Outyen. Why is it not in his memories? Zhan Tianqing mumbled to himself in a daze. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and madness. If they could confirm that Long Outyen was Huang Wuji's murderer, they could pressure him to hand Long Outyen over to Huang Tai. That way, Long Outyen's flipping sky seal would naturally be handed over to Zhan Tianqing. However, everything that happened before his eyes had ruined all of Zhan Tianqing's plans. Elder Huang Tai, you've seen the results of the Heart Inquisition. Huang Wuji's murderer is neither Zhan Tianqing nor Long Outyen. The god of war in white looked at Huang Tai calmly. His voice was ethereal. Huang Tai's face darkened. After all, he was almost certain that Long Outyen was the murderer. The results were beyond his expectations. However, he was a saint after all. His expression returned to normal. He looked at Ling Xiao coldly and said, Long Outyen, my suspicions were wrong. You're not the murderer. I apologize. Huang Tai apologized to Ling Xiao. The people of the War God Temple were slightly shocked. Then, they became excited. Huang Tai was the Grand Elder of the 9 Imperial Gates, a saint. Now that he had apologized to Long Outyen, it was definitely a piece of good news for the War God Temple. Everyone could feel that the depression from before was completely swept away. Ling Xiao looked at Huang Tai calmly and said, since you know you're wrong, I accept your apology. However, please keep your eyes open in the future and don't be so impulsive. If you implicate the innocent, wouldn't it damage your reputation and the Imperial Obelisk's reputation? Little friend Long is indeed courageous. The younger generation will surpass us in time. This old man will remember you. Huang Tai said as he looked at Ling Xiao. The purple-robed middle-aged man and the arrogant young man behind Huang Tai were about to explode from anger. Their eyes were filled with rage and killing intent as they looked at Long Outyen. Huang Tai was their ancestor. They felt extremely humiliated when they saw Huang Tai apologizing to Long Outyen. The purple-robed middle-aged man suddenly stood up and stared at Ling Xiao as he said coldly, I'm Huang Yu, a guardian elder of the Imperial Obelisk. Long Outyen, even though you weren't the one who killed Huang Wuji, his death is related to you. I have a few questions for you to answer. Ling Xiao casually shot a glance at Huang Yu and said, you all saw it too. Huang Wuji wasn't killed by me. That's enough. I don't have the obligation to answer your questions. If you have any questions, investigate them yourself. Ling Xiao's attitude seemed to have infuriated Huang Yu. His eyes turned cold as he said, Long Outyen, watch your attitude. Even though you didn't kill Huang Wuji, you can't get away with his death. Don't test my patience. Who do you think you are? Do you have the right to question me here? This is the War God Shrine, not your Imperial Obelisk. If you want to throw your weight around, go back to your Imperial Obelisk. What kind of ability is it to embarrass yourself here? If you continue to speak rudely, believe it or not, I'll kill you. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with killing intent. He had long been impatient with the people of the Imperial Obelisk. Huang Tai was a saint, so he could still tolerate it. However, who was this Huang Yu? How dare he order people around? Kill me. Ha ha ha. Very good. I'm standing right here. Come and kill me if you can. You're just a divine king ant. Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Huang Yu laughed angrily. Terrifying saint aura filled the air, causing the void to tremble. He was a peak expert of the 9th Revolution half-step saint realm. He was only one step away from becoming a saint. Normally, he wielded great power in the Imperial 9 Imperial Gates. Even the disciples of the Imperial Gates didn't dare to act presumptuously in front of him. Long Outyen, who was only a divine king, had thoroughly infuriated him. Uncle, he's just an ant. Why do you need to take action? I'll teach him a lesson for you. The arrogant young man next to Huang Yu stared at Ling Xiao. His eyes were like a wolf's, filled with cold killing intent. Shut up. Huang Tai stopped Huang Yu and the arrogant young man. He then looked at the white-clothed war god and said, War god, I do have a few questions. I need little friend Long to answer them. Please allow me. The white-clothed war god glanced at Huang Tai and said calmly, I can let Long Outyen answer your questions. However, you should know that Long Outyen doesn't have this obligation. If he answers your questions, you have to pay a Dao Comprehending Divine Pill. Dao Comprehending Divine Pill? You're asking for too much. Don't even think about it. Before Huang Tai could speak, Huang Yu's face suddenly changed and he screamed. How dare you? The white-clothed war god scolded softly. His voice was like thunder, containing a vast and mysterious power. It directly blasted on Huang Yu's chest. Huang Yu's body trembled and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura instantly became extremely weak. War god's cultivation is getting more and more unfathomable. However, isn't it too degrading for you to argue with a junior? Huang Tai's face was a little ugly. The white-clothed war god's simple attack just now had caused Huang Yu to be severely injured. He didn't even have time to stop it. This shocked him and made him feel ashamed. Saints can't be humiliated. The white-clothed war god said lightly. Huang Tai's eyes changed slightly. He nodded and said nothing more. The white-clothed war god was right. In the divine realm, saints represented the enlightenment of all living beings. Their words were law. They were supreme existences that were compatible with the origin of the great Tao. They couldn't be humiliated. Just based on Huang Yu's words, the white-clothed war god had no problem killing him. It could be seen that the white-clothed war god was still merciful. I didn't expect the war god to take a fancy to my Tao Comprehending Divine Pill. Very well. Then as the war god said, a Tao Comprehending Divine Pill for one question. Huang Tai glanced at the white-clothed war god and pondered for a moment. Finally, he nodded and agreed. The war god supreme's means are still too gentle. Ling Xiao couldn't help but shake his head. He felt a little disappointed with the war god supreme. Junior brother, the war god supreme is not giving in. You don't understand his forbearance now. You will understand in the future. However, the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill is a good thing. I feel that the War God Supreme asked for it for you. Chapter 1694. The Enlightenment Divine Elixir is indeed a good thing. Ling Xiao nodded. He had also heard of the Enlightenment Divine Elixir. It was a supreme elixir that could help a complete divine king to comprehend the origin of the holy path and the true meaning of the great path. However, this elixir recipe was very precious and only some powerful alchemists had it. Huang Tai was the alchemy saint of the 9 imperial gates. He had the recipe for the Enlightenment Divine Elixir. The reason why he was respected in the 9 imperial gates was not because of his cultivation, but because of his identity as the alchemy saint. Long Outyen, answer Huang Tai's questions. All the Enlightenment Divine Elixir is yours. However, you don't have to answer any questions. You're right. This is the War God Temple. You don't have to be afraid of him. The voice of the white-clothed war god suddenly rang in Ling Xiao's mind. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed slightly and he nodded. Long Outyen, my first question is that the Divine Cloud Valley contains the power of the Thunder Calamity. The ghost demons are most afraid of the Thunder Calamity fire. Why would a ghost demon appear in the Divine Cloud Valley? Huang Tai asked Ling Xiao. The Divine Cloud Valley does contain the power of the Thunder Tribulation, but not every ghost devil clan is afraid of the power of the Thunder Tribulation. You have seen it in my memory. I was once chased by a ghost devil clan expert. In my opinion, he is most likely the remnant soul of the great devil saint of the ghost devil clan. Therefore, I'm afraid that Huang Wuji has died in his hands. Ling Xiao answered calmly. Although he was talking nonsense, he had secretly operated the Taishu heart charm scripture. His state of mind was as calm as an ancient well. There was no change. This was because Ling Xiao felt that Huang Tai was observing his every move when he asked him the question. Ling Xiao looked very relaxed on the surface, but his heart was on high alert. All right. Second question. What's the background of Dugu Qiubai with you? Huang Tai did not find anything wrong with Ling Xiao. He was slightly disappointed and immediately asked the second question. Dugu Qiubai. He's a friend I made in the divine space. I believe you've already investigated his identity. He's from the Hero Alliance. Although the Hero Alliance has a bad reputation in the divine realm, the 9 imperial gates should not interfere with who I befriend, right? Ling Xiao sneered. Huang Tai could not find anything wrong with Ling Xiao, so he shifted his attention to Dugu Qiubai. How could Ling Xiao not see through Huang Tai's intention? Dugu Qiubai is the young master of Hero Alliance. The Hero Alliance is a bunch of scum that betrayed the divine realm. They even colluded with the demon race. Everyone has the right to kill them. If you associate yourself with such people, I'm afraid it will damage the reputation of the War God Temple. Moreover, that Dugu Qiubai killed many disciples of the 9 imperial obelisk in the mythical space. He has already entered the 9 imperial obelisks must-kill list. Huang Tai said indifferently. Elder Huang Tai doesn't have to worry about that. Ling Xiao replied indifferently. Third question. You pretended to be Huang Wuji and ambushed the Red Lotus Valley, but you caused the Ghost Devil race to target the 9 imperial obelisk and killed countless disciples. How do you explain this? Huang Tai's eyes turned cold as he stared at Ling Xiao. There was a hint of questioning in his voice. Ling Xiao thought to himself. This was the easiest thing for the 9 imperial obelisk to attack. However, Ling Xiao's expression remained calm. He sneered and said, Elder Huang Tai, you've seen it for yourself. Huang Wuji hunted me down to snatch my treasures and inheritance. I, Long Outyen, am not a person who repays evil with good. To be honest, I pretended to be him and ambushed the Red Lotus Valley to take revenge on him. Is he allowed to hunt me down, but I'm not allowed to take revenge on him? What a joke. The consequence of your pretense is that you caused hundreds of disciples of the 9 imperial obelisk to die in the hands of the Ghost Devil race. Do you know your crime? Huang Yu also shouted coldly. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Don't act like you're interrogating a criminal. Who do you think you are? Elder Huang Tai, I've answered all 3 questions. Leave the Enlightenment Divine Elixir and leave. The War God Temple does not welcome you. Ling Xiao sneered coldly. Huang Tai and Huang Yu were furious, but they couldn't vent their anger. Although Ling Xiao had impersonated Huang Wuji, Ling Xiao really didn't kill Huang Wuji. This caused them to be without a valid reason, and they had no reason to denounce Ling Xiao. That's right. Huang Tai, the War God Temple does not welcome you. Get lost. Lu Wenjing sneered. He couldn't hold it in any longer. Huang Tai, Huang Yu, and the others' overbearing manner infuriated him. He wanted nothing more than to charge forward and fight with Huang Tai. If it were 1,000,000 years ago, he would have beaten Huang Tai to the point that even his mother wouldn't recognize him. 3 Enlightenment Divine Elixirs. Lord War God, please keep them well. Huang Tai's eyes regained their calmness. He waved his hand and a milky white jade bottle flew to the white-clothed war god. The white-clothed war god took the jade bottle and opened it. Immediately, a fragrance spread out, invigorating everyone who smelled it. He nodded and threw the 3 Enlightenment Divine Elixirs to Ling Xiao, saying, These are the Enlightenment Divine Elixirs. Aren't you going to thank Elder Huang Tai? Ling Xiao took it and smiled indifferently at the white-clothed war god, saying, If you want to thank someone, you have to thank Lord War God. This is the reward I deserve. There's no need to thank anyone. Huang Tai took a deep look at Ling Xiao and waved his sleeve, saying, Let's go. Huang Tai felt that he had lost all his face in this trip to the War God Temple. Unfortunately, he had nowhere to vent his anger, so he suppressed his anger. However, he could not stay in the war god temple any longer, so he could only leave first. However, he had remembered Ling Xiao. He naturally had ways to deal with this kid in the future. Wait. At this moment, Ling Xiao's voice sounded. What else do you want? Huang Tai turned around and stared at Ling Xiao expressionlessly. Elder Huang Tai, is the war god temple a place where you can come and go as you please? Ling Xiao looked straight at Huang Tai and said in a clear voice. Everyone was stunned. Shouldn't this matter be resolved? What did Long Outyen want to do? He actually stopped Elder Huang Tai. This was the prelude to causing trouble. For some reason, everyone in the war god temple was a little excited. Even the white-clothed war god had a strange look in his eyes. Oh. Don't tell me you want to keep me here. Huang Tai's eyes flashed coldly as he stared at Ling Xiao. The terrifying aura around him was hidden, rumbling like thunder. He was completely enraged. The war god temple can't be humiliated. As a disciple of the war god temple, I don't care about my own honor or disgrace. However, you guys are humiliating my war god temple by denouncing me. I, Ling Xiao, swear that I will seek justice for those who humiliate my war god temple. Elder Huang Tai, do you dare to fight me? Chapter 1695. Elder Huang Tai, do you dare to accept my challenge? Ling Xiao's voice reverberated throughout the mountain, silencing everyone. Their eyes were filled with disbelief and shock. Who was Elder Huang Tai? He was the saint ancestral patriarch of the 9 imperial gates. He had become a saint hundreds of thousands of years ago. His cultivation was unfathomable and no one knew what level he had reached. Ling Xiao was only a perfected divine king. He was more than a dozen levels lower than Elder Huang Tai. How could he challenge Elder Huang Tai? Everyone felt as if they had heard wrongly. This was as laughable as an ant challenging a divine dragon. It made everyone feel as if they were in a dream. Long Outyen, he's crazy. Zhan Tianqing's body trembled and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He's courting death. Does he really think he can be so arrogant just because he has the flipping sky seal? The flipping sky seal is powerful, but it's just a holy artifact. Lei Qianjue sneered. He looked at Ling Xiao as if he was looking at a fool. He immediately understood why Ling Xiao dared to challenge Huang Tai. It was because Ling Xiao had the flipping sky seal. However, Ling Xiao was only a divine king. No matter how powerful the flipping sky seal was, he could not even unleash 1/10,000th of its power. A million years ago, before the Scarlet Dragon War God had proven his Tao and become a saint, he could use the cyclic sky seal to kill saints. At that time, the Scarlet Dragon War God was only a step away from proving his Tao and becoming one with the cyclic sky seal. Lei Qianjue did not think that Ling Xiao could unleash the flipping sky seal's power. Moreover, Huang Tai was a saint. It was not like he did not have a holy artifact. Since he wants to die, let's fulfill his wish. A saint should not be humiliated. Elder Huang Tai will not let him go. Xing Jun sneered. He felt that Ling Xiao was really courting death. Junior brother, don't be rash. Huang Tai is extremely powerful. You are no match for him even if you have the flipping sky seal. It's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. When you become a saint, you can kill him like a dog. Lu Wenjing also became anxious and hurriedly sent a voice transmission to Ling Xiao. Junior brother was too troublesome. Lu Wenjing thought that this was the end of the matter. He did not expect Ling Xiao to challenge Huang Tai's challenge. Lu Wenjing's heart almost jumped out of his chest. Junior brother Long is too fierce. Heavenly Dipper and the others widened their eyes, not knowing what to say. In the end, they could only laugh bitterly. Huang Tai's eyes were deep and indifferent, like the endless dark starry sky that could devour everything. He looked at Ling Xiao quietly. Although he was expressionless, everyone could feel that Huang Tai was like a volcano that was about to erupt at any time. You Want to challenge me? Huang Tai's voice was very soft, but it contained a fluctuation that made people shudder. That's right. Those who humiliate the war god temple will be killed. Although I, Long Outyen, am not talented, I am willing to use my life to defend the dignity of the war god temple. Elder Huang Tai, even if I'm no match for you, I won't hesitate even if I have to bleed here today. Ling Zhao's voice was sonorous and forceful, like metal splitting the clouds. The reason why he dared to challenge Huang Tai was because of the flipping sky seal. Now that the Thunder Spirit King had become the weapon spirit of the flipping sky seal, Ling Zhao had completely refined the flipping sky seal and could unleash the strongest power of this supreme treasure. Now, the flipping sky seal alone was not enough. Most importantly, they were on War Mountain, where the holy path imprint of the past experts of the War God Temple was located. Ling Zhao had completely refined the flipping sky seal, which could resonate with the holy path. At that time, with the help of the holy path, he would be able to fight against a real saint. The War God Temple needed a great victory to ignite the fighting spirit in the hearts of the members of the War God Temple, to ignite the invincible heart that could conquer the heavens and the earth. If Huang Tai and the others left just like that, there would be no loss. However, this was not what Ling Zhao wanted. Ling Zhao wanted to use this battle to tell everyone that those who offended the War God Temple would be killed no matter how far they were. Before Huang Tai could say anything, the arrogant young man could not help but jump out. Long Outyen, who do you think you are? You want to challenge my ancestor? You are not qualified. If you have the guts, fight with me. I really want to see where you get your confidence from. The arrogant young man's eyes were blazing with killing intent as he stared at Ling Zhao. That's right. Long Outyen, Huang Wudao is a peerless genius of the 9 imperial gates. As long as you don't use the flipping sky seal, you can't even defeat Huang Wudao. How dare you challenge my ancestor? You are overestimating yourself. Huang Yu sneered. However, he was also a scheming person. He had used his words to prevent Ling Zhao from using the flipping sky seal. After all, everyone knew how terrifying the flipping sky seal was. Even if Ling Zhao could not use the full power of the flipping sky seal, it should be easy for him to defeat Huang Wudao. Him. Without the flipping sky seal, I can kill him in 3 moves. Ling Zhao sneered as his eyes shone with a sharp light. 3 moves. Huang Wudao was stunned for a moment before he flew into a rage. This was a great humiliation. Ling Zhao's cultivation was only at the Great Divine King realm, while he was a 3-revolution half-saint. How dare Ling Zhao say that he could kill him in 3 moves? Ling Zhao did not take him seriously at all. Ha ha ha. Good. Very good. Long Outyen, you have successfully infuriated me. Don't worry, I won't kill you. However, I will cripple your cultivation and let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. Huang Wudao was so angry that he laughed. The killing intent in his eyes was almost tangible. 3 moves. Isn't Long Outyen too careless? Even if he is talented, without the flipping sky seal, how can he defeat Huang Wudao in 3 moves? I heard that Huang Wudao is extremely powerful. He is a 3-revolution half-saint and once killed a 4-revolution half-saint expert. Junior brother Long is too careless. Yes, he is too impulsive. The people of the War God Shrine shook their heads and sighed. Some of them looked disappointed. Originally, they thought that Long Outyen was unyielding, courageous. But now, it seemed that he was nothing more than a brute. Such a person might very well drag the War God Temple into the abyss of eternal damnation. Cut the crap. If you want to fight, let's fight. After I defeat you, I will be qualified to challenge Elder Huang Tai, right? Ling Zhao said indifferently. His eyes shone with blood-red divine light. The battle intent around him bloomed instantly, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. Let's talk about it after you defeat me. Huang Wudao's killing intent soared to the sky. In an instant, dazzling lightning radiance bloomed as he threw a punch at Ling Zhao. He had been suppressing his anger for a long time. At this moment, a terrifying saint aura erupted from his body. It was as if he had turned into a thunder saint, displaying the power of the Lightning Emperor technique. Chapter 1696. Huang Wudao was a prodisciple of the 9 imperial gates. His talent was not any weaker than Huang Wuji's. At this moment, he displayed the Thunder Emperor technique. His body was surrounded by blazing lightning, controlling the wind and thunder in the sky. Above the fist print, there seemed to be a world of thunder blooming, enveloping Ling Xiao. In that world of thunder, a mysterious figure seemed to appear, exuding a monstrous emperor's aura that wanted to destroy everything. The real body of the Thunder Emperor? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Huang Wudao's Thunder Emperor technique had been cultivated to an extremely profound level. Condensing the real body of the Thunder Emperor had multiplied his strength. Kill! Ling Xiao shouted coldly. In an instant, he soared into the sky. Blood qi filled the sky, exuding an immortal fluctuation. It was as if an immemorial divine beast had awakened from a deep sleep, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. Furthermore, Ling Xiao's body also emitted rays of purple light. It was as if there was a purple sun above his chest, making him seem even more majestic and mysterious. That was Ling Xiao's indestructible calamity seed. Especially in the world of the flipping sky seal, Ling Xiao had swallowed an endless amount of calamity qi and polished the indestructible calamity seed to an extremely perfect state. It nourished himself and made his physical body stronger. It was several times stronger than before he entered the world of the flipping sky seal. Therefore, facing Huang Wudao, he only threw out a simple punch. Kacha! Streaks of chaotic light burst forth. Ling Xiao's punch was ancient and crude, facing the lightning that filled the sky. It was as if it was the hand of the heavens, directly exploding the vast lightning world. Then, it collided with the Thunder Emperor's true body. It was as if a small sun had exploded. An extremely terrifying divine light storm was set off in the sky. Ling Xiao displayed his strongest physical strength. The purple gas around him rose. When the lightning fell on his body, it actually produced the sound of metal clashing, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. Boom! The real body of the Thunder Emperor seemed to be unable to withstand the power of Ling Xiao's punch and suddenly exploded. Huang Wudao's expression changed drastically. He retreated rapidly. At the same time, his palms flew out. 2 blazing lightning dragons flew towards Ling Xiao. Roar! Roar! The dragon's roar shook the surroundings. However, under Ling Xiao's chaotic fist print, it was instantly annihilated. Huang Wudao was sent flying by an unparalleled divine force. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. His blood and qi churned, and dazzling runes bloomed on his chest as he was sent flying several thousand feet away. Damn it! Huang Wudao's eyes were gloomy, filled with shock and anger. He did not expect Ling Xiao's physical body to be so terrifying. Not only was his Thunder Emperor technique unable to hurt Ling Xiao's physical body, but even the Thunder Emperor real body was shattered by Ling Xiao's punch. The Lightning Emperor technique, which was said to be unparalleled in terms of offense, was actually so weak and powerless in front of Ling Xiao's physical body. The leakless real body. Huang Yu's entire body trembled as a trace of disbelief appeared in his eyes. The Tribulation's indestructible sacred technique was not just the #1 sacred technique of the War God Temple. Even the other immortal sacred grounds knew about it very well. It was even rumored that the Tribulation's indestructible sacred technique was an incomplete imperial scripture that contained the ultimate secrets of using strength to prove one's Tao. However, the indestructible sacred technique was extremely difficult to cultivate. The first stage was to condense the indestructible calamity seed. Then, with the seed as the foundation, one would continuously devour the Tribulation aura to refine one's body until it was flawless and formed the leakless real body. The legendary leakless real body was so strong that it could form its own small world. It could even fight against a peak half-saint. The next step of the leakless real body was to be reborn from a drop of blood. As long as there was a drop of flesh left, one could be resurrected. This was comparable to a powerful saint. After all, saints controlled the origin of the great Tao. Their words were law. However, not every saint could reach the realm of rebirth from a drop of blood. As for the indestructible sacred technique, it was said that as long as one could reach the realm of rebirth from a drop of blood, one's body would become a saint. It's not the leakless real body yet. However, his indestructible calamity seed is complete. It's only a matter of time before he breaks through to the leakless real body. This kid, his physical talent is too strong. Huang Tai's eyes also revealed a trace of solemnity. Ling Xiao had shattered the Thunder Emperor's true body with a single punch and forced Huang Wudao to retreat. This was a feat that amazed many War God Temple disciples and elders. Perhaps junior brother Long wasn't boasting. He really might be able to kill Huang Wudao in 3 moves. A thought appeared in someone's mind. The leakless real body, the leakless real body. If junior brother can really condense the leakless real body before he reaches the half-saint realm, then it's not impossible for his body to become a saint. Lu Wenjun's heart trembled violently. He suddenly thought of a possibility and began to tremble all over. In the God realm, although there were thousands of paths to the divine path and everyone could comprehend their own divine path, there were 4 types of divine paths: physical sanctification, great path law sanctification, primordial spirit sanctification, and heart sanctification. Among the 4 types of divine paths, the most common were the great path law sanctification and the primordial spirit sanctification. Heart sanctification had its own special restrictions and required special cultivation methods. Therefore, there were not many who could become heart sanctification. Most of them were eminent monks of Buddhism. Physical sanctification was the most difficult, but it was also the strongest. Physical sanctification was said to be invincible among those of the same level. If the heavens and earth were destroyed, one would not be destroyed. If the heavens collapsed, one's physical body would not be destroyed. However, even the monster race and the demon race, who claimed to have the strongest physical bodies, found it difficult to achieve physical sanctification. It was even more difficult for the human race. There might not even be one physical sanctification in 1,000,000 years. The first move. Ling Xiao looked at Huang Wudao and said calmly. In Huang Wudao's eyes, Ling Xiao's calm attitude was simply disregard and contempt. Huang Wudao's face turned red and his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Long Outyen, do you really think that you can kill me in 3 moves? Arrogant. Today, I'll let you experience what a true supreme holy technique is. Huang Wudao's eyes were blazing with killing intent. He roared and suddenly exuded an incomparably terrifying aura. His aura began to soar as he charged towards Ling Xiao. Heavenly Emperor Sacrificial Art. Kill! 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 Huang Wudao's qi and blood seemed to be burning. His essence, qi, and spirit had reached an extreme. There seemed to be a rising sun and moon in his eyes. A blurry figure appeared behind him. Although the face could not be seen clearly, it was emitting a power that made one's heart tremble. Huang Wudao and the chaotic figure fused together in an instant. Their aura skyrocketed, and surpassed the limit of the 3rd revolution half-saint realm in an instant. It rose to the peak of the 6th revolution half-saint realm before it stopped. Whoosh! Chapter 1697. It's the Heavenly Emperor Sacrificial Art. Junior brother Long is in danger. Cheng Ying, who was watching the battle, couldn't help but change his expression. His eyes were filled with solemnity. Senior sister Cheng, what is the Heavenly Emperor Sacrificial Art? Is it very powerful? A disciple asked in confusion. I'm sure you've heard of the Heavenly Emperor. He's the leader of the 9 emperors of the human race. He once established the ancient heavenly court and led the human race to conquer the heavens and realms. The 9-layered imperial obelisk claimed to have inherited the ancient heavenly court, so it naturally obtained some of the ancient heavenly court's saint techniques. The Heavenly Emperor Sacrificial Art is said to have been created by the Heavenly Emperor. It allows one to sacrifice one's blood essence, primordial spirit, and even life to obtain great power. Huang Wudao is qualified to cultivate the Heavenly Emperor's sacrificial art. Although he only sacrificed part of his blood essence, it allowed him to temporarily possess the combat strength of a peak 6th Revolution half-saint. I'm afraid junior brother Long is no match for him. Qingying explained with a wry smile. His face was filled with worry. In the face of Huang Wudao's attack, Ling Zhao's eyes remained calm. His gaze became deeper and deeper. Chaotic mist filled the air around him, making him look even more ethereal and mysterious. Boom! Huang Wudao's finger contained a sharpness that could pierce through everything. In an instant, it pierced between Ling Zhao's brows, directly turning him into a fine powder. Huang Wudao's face didn't have the slightest trace of joy. His eyes flashed. He didn't know when Ling Zhao had escaped from his target, but he had only killed an afterimage. Swoosh! 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 Above the void, chaotic qi rose, and in an instant, countless figures of Ling Zhao appeared. Each figure looked incomparably real, exuding a powerful qi and blood fluctuation. Even Huang Wudao could not tell which one was Ling Zhao's real body. Break! Huang Wudao's eyes revealed a cruel look. His saint aura was vast and unparalleled. His palm swept across the sky, blotting out the sun and shrouding all the afterimages in the sky. Since he couldn't find Ling Zhao's real body, he might as well not search for it. He would just kill all of them. Rumble. The sky trembled as Ling Zhao's silhouettes shattered one by one. A divine light storm was set off in the void. However, Huang Wudao suddenly felt a sense of danger rising in his heart. Without thinking, he threw a punch behind him. The fist imprint was unparalleled, containing the power to crush everything. Ling Zhao was indeed behind Huang Wudao. His entire body was shrouded in dazzling divine light as he sent a slap towards Huang Wudao's face. You're courting death. Huang Wudao's face darkened. He did not think that Ling Zhao would dare to look down on him. Ling Zhao actually wanted to slap his face with this palm. He simply did not put him in his eyes at all. Could it be that he really thought that he could withstand this punch of his? Crack! Huang Wudao decided to ignore Ling Zhao's attack. Instead, the fist imprint shone brightly, as though it was emitting beams of divine light that could pierce through everything, blasting towards Ling Zhao's heart. His speed was extremely fast. Even if Ling Zhao's palm landed on his face, his punch was enough to kill Ling Zhao. Ling Zhao's expression was very calm. A strange light flickered in his eyes as he softly spat out a word. Freeze. It was as though a saint's words were law. In an instant, Ling Zhao's body emitted a strange fluctuation. The void from all directions pressed towards Huang Wudao. Suddenly, Huang Wudao's body trembled, and he actually stopped in the void. Although it was only a breath's time, Huang Wudao instantly broke through the sealing force and continued to attack Ling Zhao. However, a breath's time was enough to do a lot of things. Slap! Ling Zhao dodged Huang Wudao's punch with incomparable ease. Then, he slapped Huang Wudao's face directly. Everyone in the War God Temple heard that clear and melodious voice. Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief. Boom! Half of Huang Wudao's face was instantly smashed. Ling Zhao's palm contained a terrifying physical strength. Even a mountain could be smashed into powder, let alone Huang Wudao. Huang Wudao screamed as his entire body flew out. He directly smashed into a sturdy mountain in the distance, causing the mountain to shake and rumble. Huang Wudao's crushing defeat made everyone feel baffled when they saw it. Huang Wudao was clearly unstoppable and wanted to kill Ling Zhao with a punch. However, for some reason, Ling Zhao dodged it and sent him flying with a slap. What a painful slap to the face. It was as though Huang Wudao had stopped for a moment and forcefully moved his face closer to Ling Zhao's palm. This was too strange. Long out Yen, you're courting death. How dare you use the power of the flipping sky seal? Huang Yu was instantly enraged. His eyes were extremely gloomy, and his entire body was filled with cold killing intent. It was as though he wanted to attack Ling Zhao. Huang Yu could also feel that a mysterious force had been released. It had actually sealed Huang Wudao for a breath's time, resulting in Huang Wudao's crushing defeat. In his opinion, only the flipping sky seal could do that. Stop! He didn't use the power of the flipping sky seal. Huang Tai stopped Huang Yu, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. Old ancestor, if he didn't use the power of the flipping sky seal, how could he have defeated Huang Wudao? This brat is clearly not keeping his word. Huang Yu suddenly became anxious. He really didn't use the power of the flipping sky seal, but the power of time. Lord God of War, I didn't expect this disciple of the War God Temple to be so well hidden. He actually knows how to control the power of time. Could he be a spy of the space-time heavenly gate? Huang Tai said slowly, and then glanced at the white-clothed God of War. Although Huang Tai couldn't see that Ling Xiao was cultivating the time of time, he was a saint who controlled the origin of great ways. Naturally, he could feel that the power of time that had just burst out from Ling Xiao's body had caused Huang Wudao to stagnate for a breath, resulting in such a crushing defeat. That's his own opportunity. As long as the disciples of the War God Temple are loyal to the War God Temple, they are free to cultivate whatever martial arts they want. The white-clothed God of War said calmly, but his eyes became brighter as he looked at Ling Xiao. Humph! Lord God of War is really open-minded. Huang Tai snorted coldly, and his expression returned to indifference. Whoosh! Huang Wudao rushed up from the mountain in an instant, and a majestic vitality erupted from his body. Soon, his injuries were healed, but his handsome face became extremely distorted. He stared at Ling Xiao as if he wanted to eat him. Long Out Yen, you are despicable and shameless. I will kill you. Chapter 1698. Huang Wudao was slapped in the face by Ling Xiao in front of everyone in the War God Shrine. He was humiliated and furious, and he hated Ling Xiao to the extreme. This was a great humiliation to him, and he had to take Ling Xiao's life to wash it off. It's been 2 moves. Huang Wudao, this is the last move. I'll make you admit defeat wholeheartedly. Ling Xiao said flatly, and the sharpness in his eyes became even more dazzling. Dream on. Long Out Yen, I'll kill you. Huang Wudao roared. In an instant, terrifying sacred light filled the air around him, and streaks of lightning intertwined. He clenched his fist, and a purple war saber appeared in the void, exuding a monstrous sharpness. He pushed the energy around him to the extreme, and the saber slashed down towards Ling Xiao. It was as though the heavens and earth were split into 2 by the saber, and the blazing saber light illuminated everyone's faces. As for the purple saber, it exuded a vast saintly aura, as if it was the saber of the Thunder Emperor. It contained the original power of the Thunder Way, which could crush the heavens and shatter the earth. The purple war saber was a flawless holy treasure. Despicable. You didn't let junior brother Long use the flipping sky seal, so why did Huang Wudao use a flawless holy treasure? The disciples of the War God Shrine were enraged, and their eyes were filled with anger. Shameless. Damn it, this bastard is shameless. He's even more shameless than me. I really want to kick his face. Black Donkey also opened his eyes wide and cursed. Don't be afraid. It's not like junior brother Long doesn't have a flawless holy treasure. Huang Wudao will lose for sure. Tiangang sneered. At this moment, all the disciples of the War God Shrine were united against a common enemy. They hated Huang Wudao, and they were eager for Ling Xiao to create a miracle and defeat Huang Wudao. Huang Tai, you actually gave the ruling heavenly saber to Huang Wudao. You're really something. Lu Wenjing said as he stared at Huang Tai. Lu Wenjing recognized the heavenly blade of judgment in Huang Wudao's hand. It was Huang Tai's sword, and it even contained a trace of Huang Tai's power of the divine path. It was extremely powerful. Huang Tai said indifferently, I've already given the heavenly blade of adjudication to Huang Wudao. It's now his natal treasure. Apart from the flipping sky seal, we didn't say that we can't use other holy treasures, right? Shameless. Lu Wenjing snorted coldly. His eyes were filled with worry. He did not know if Ling Xiao could handle the judgment heavenly blade. Rumble. The blade slashed down at Ling Xiao. The blade contained a power that could destroy everything, causing Ling Xiao to feel a strong sense of threat. It could be said that Huang Wudao's blade was not Huang Wudao's own power at all. Instead, the heavenly blade of judgment contained the will of Huang Tai, the power of the divine path. It was as if Ling Xiao's opponent had suddenly changed to Huang Tai. It turned out that this was Huang Tai's killing move. Ling Xiao's eyes were as cold as iron. He still stood there as if he did not see the heavenly blade of judgment coming down at him. However, there was a vast and unparalleled deathly aura behind Ling Xiao, causing the sky to shake violently in an instant. Get lost! Ling Xiao roared, and a palm slammed down toward Huang Wudao. The aura of death and life intertwined around Ling Xiao. It seemed to form the shadow of 3,000 worlds behind him, giving his palm an unparalleled divine power. In an instant, Ling Xiao's power skyrocketed, surpassing the aura of the Divine King realm and reaching the peak of the Half-Saint realm. Then, he slapped the heavenly blade of judgment fiercely. Behind Ling Xiao, there seemed to be an incomparably mysterious figure appearing. Crack! The heavenly blade of judgment trembled violently, and the blade light that filled the sky suddenly exploded. Ling Xiao's palm seemed to be able to open up the cycle of life and death. Even the heavenly blade of judgment could not withstand the power of the palm. It trembled and was sent flying. Ling Xiao's palm landed on Huang Wudao's chest, and a huge bloody hole immediately appeared. Huang Wudao was directly smashed into pieces, exploding into a bloody mist in the void. Huang Wudao screamed miserably. His primordial spirit escaped from his body in an instant. His eyes were filled with horror as he fled towards Huang Tai. Ancestor, save me! Huang Wudao roared, his voice trembling violently. At this moment, Ling Xiao's palm did not slow down, and it was still heading towards Huang Wudao. Boom! At this moment, Huang Tai's eyes flashed. He immediately waved his sleeve, and a purple light rose, blocking Ling Xiao's palm. Then, he took Huang Wudao's primordial spirit into his sleeve. Can't the old bear it after hitting the young one? The genius disciple of the 9 imperial gates is nothing more than this. Ling Xiao said with a cold smile. He looked at Huang Tai with disdain. Long out Yen, there's a holy Tao energy in your body. That's the Thunder Spirit King, right? You defeated Huang Wudao with the Thunder Spirit King's strength. It's not your own strength. Are you proud? Huang Tai said expressionlessly. There was a trace of coldness in his eyes. He had already seen that the heavenly blade of judgment was extremely terrifying. Ling Xiao could not withstand it at all, but at the last moment, his body erupted with the strength of the peak of the Half-Saint realm. Not only did it send the heavenly blade of judgment flying, it even destroyed Huang Wudao's body. The strength of the peak of the Half-Saint realm naturally came from the Thunder Spirit King. Ling Xiao sneered and said, "What a joke. You can leave your strength in the heavenly blade of judgment, but it's not Huang Wudao's own strength. Why can't I use the strength of the Thunder Spirit King? If I only use my own strength, I can kill him like a dog." How dare you? Huang Yu's face turned cold. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at Ling Xiao. Huang Wudao's defeat was like a slap to their faces by Ling Xiao. It made Huang Yu burn with rage. He could not wait to kill Ling Xiao. You're the one who's being presumptuous. Elder Huang Tai, Huang Wudao has been defeated. I should be qualified to challenge you now, right? Ling Xiao scolded Huang Yu, then looked at Huang Tai and said indifferently. Seeing that Ling Xiao wanted to challenge Huang Tai, the people of the War God Temple were filled with admiration. Their blood was boiling. The people of the 9 imperial obelisk were defeated in the War God Temple. It made them feel that their prestige had increased. At this moment, no one dared to look down on Ling Xiao anymore. Ling Xiao used the battle with Huang Wudao to prove his current strength. He also won everyone's respect. Even many of the true disciples of the War God Temple were impressed by Ling Xiao. Very good. Long Out Yen, since you want to challenge me, I'll fulfill your wish. However, I don't want to bully the weak. How about we still limit it to 3 moves? Huang Tai took a deep look at Ling Xiao, then lowered his eyelids and said expressionlessly. On the other hand, Huang Yu's entire body trembled. He knew that Ling Xiao had finally angered the old ancestor. The old ancestor was truly enraged. Ling Xiao's repeated provocations had finally caused Huang Tai to disregard everything and attack. Chapter 1699. Alright. Let's limit it to 3 moves. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. There was no fear in his eyes. Instead, they were filled with a strong desire to fight. At this moment, the white-clothed war god looked at Huang Tai calmly and said, Elder Huang Tai, with your cultivation and status, if you fight with Long Out Yen, you will inevitably be suspected of bullying the weak. Why don't you let me fight with you for a few moves? Everyone could not help but be shocked. The war god was going to fight. The war god supreme in front of them was extremely mysterious. Although he had proven his Tao for several 100,000 years, he had never casually taken action. Normally, he would be in seclusion in the war god temple, so no one knew what level his cultivation had reached. Since the war god is interested, I will be happy to accompany you. Huang Tai's eyes flashed as he said faintly. He had to admit that the white-clothed war god's proposal made him a little tempted. Although the war god's presence in the war god temple was not high, his cultivation was unfathomable. No one knew what level he had reached now. If Huang Tai could fight with the white-clothed war god, he would naturally be able to figure out the white-clothed war god's background. Ling Xiao naturally saw through Huang Tai's plan. He bowed to the white-clothed war god and said, Thank you for your kindness, war god. However, there is no need to use a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. I am determined to fight with Elder Huang Tai. Please grant me my wish. Are you sure? The white-clothed war god looked at Ling Xiao deeply and said. I am sure. Ling Xiao nodded solemnly. He is courting death. I hope Elder Huang Tai can kill him directly. In the distance, Zhang Tianqing's eyes revealed a trace of cold killing intent. Tianqing, don't underestimate Long Out Yen. He dares to challenge Elder Huang Tai. Either he is crazy, or he really has the confidence to fight with Elder Huang Tai. Do you think he is crazy? Lei Qianjue looked at Zhang Tianqing and said slowly. He is not crazy. But even if he has the flipping sky seal, he can't be Elder Huang Tai's opponent, right? Let alone 3 moves, he will die in 1 move. Zhang Tianqing said with some reluctance. That's hard to say. This Long Out Yen may be arrogant, but he is quite methodical. When have you seen him do something he is not confident of? If he could really fight with Elder Huang Tai, not only would he be able to establish his authority, but he would also be able to use the prestige he gained from this battle and control the flipping sky seal to become the battle hall master. No one would be able to stop him. Killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Lei Qianjue said. That will have to wait until he can withstand 3 moves from Elder Huang Tai. Elder Huang Tai is no ordinary saint. Perhaps Long Out Yen won't even be able to withstand a single blow. The law enforcement Elder Xing Jun sneered. Although he had to admit that Lei Qianjue was right, he still did not want such a thing to happen. If it's really as I think, then it's not a good thing. Lei Qianjue looked at Ling Xiao from afar with a strange look in his eyes. Rumble. A vast and powerful saint's aura permeated the air. Huang Tai stood in the sky with an indifferent expression. He looked down at Ling Xiao like a dragon looking down at an ant. He had an invincible aura. Long Out Yen, I have to say that I admire your courage. But if you think that you can defeat me with the flipping sky seal, you are wrong. If I kill you by accident, I hope you won't hold it against me. Huang Tai said indifferently. His voice shook the void as if there was a strange force pressing down on Ling Xiao. Buzz! Ling Xiao's body flashed, and the black flipping sky seal spun, exuding a majestic holy aura. It floated above Ling Xiao's head, sprinkling down rays of divine light, which shrouded Ling Xiao's entire body. The saint aura that Huang Tai exuded did not seem to affect Ling Xiao at all. Let's see if we can fight or not with our fists. Elder Huang Tai, please enlighten me. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he stared at Huang Tai. Rumble. The sky shook as the flipping sky seal exuded an ancient, thick and mysterious light. A powerful saint aura filled the air as if it was indestructible and could suppress the heavens. Ling Xiao's blood seemed to be boiling as he stared at Huang Tai in front of him. Every pore on his body opened up. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to fight with Huang Tai. It would be immeasurable for Ling Xiao. Moreover, he wasn't being arrogant on purpose. Instead, he had enough confidence in himself. After Thunder Spirit King became the device spirit of the Flipping Sky Seal, he had complete control over the Flipping Sky Seal. He was very clear about the terror of this supreme treasure. In addition, he was in War Mountain, which was his home ground, so it was possible for him to control the Flipping Sky Seal and fight with Huang Tai. Since you insist, let's leave it to fate. Huang Tai said indifferently. The terrifying saint aura around him grew even more vast. Rumble. Rumble. Huang Tai spat out 2 words. Suddenly, the sky shook as a mysterious purple thunderbolt appeared in his palm and pressed down on Ling Xiao. The entire War Mountain was shrouded in endless thunderbolts as the destructive power shrouded the sky. Everyone's faces were pale, and their bodies were trembling. Their eyes were filled with incomparable terror. The power of the Saint Path was too terrifying. Huang Tai had mastered the Thunder Saint Path and condensed the Thunder Dao fruit. He seemed to have become a part of the Thunder Calamity. Every move he made was immeasurable. Rumble. The white-clothed war god's body flashed as he activated the mountain protection array of the War God Hall. It shrouded the entire War God Hall and protected everyone. Only then did everyone feel a little better. However, their eyes were still solemn as they stared at Ling Xiao and Huang Tai in the air. This was the power of a saint. Even if Ling Xiao had the Flipping Sky Seal, would he be able to contend with such power? Everyone's hearts were filled with uncertainty. Open! Ling Xiao roared. In an instant, his qi and blood surged to the sky. The Flipping Sky Seal expanded against the wind and directly drew a black mountain in the void. Its momentum was monstrous, and it rushed toward Huang Tai to greet him. Chapter 1700. Rumble. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin. The Flipping Sky Seal contained hundreds of millions of tons of divine power. It was activated by Ling Xiao at this moment and radiated with divine light. It was as if it had been completely revived. Huang Tai's palm landed on the Flipping Sky Seal. In an instant, boundless thunderbolts exploded. The Flipping Sky Seal shook violently. Runes and divine lights exploded one after another. Cracks appeared in the void above. Thunder Spirit King, who was in the Flipping Sky Seal, shone with hundreds of millions of divine lights. He activated the Flipping Sky Seal to the extreme and annihilated all the thunderbolts in the sky. However, those thunderbolts were all Thunder Principle Origin energy. They even tried to enter the Flipping Sky Seal to kill Thunder Spirit King. However, they were all annihilated by the Flipping Sky Seal. Ling Xiao's body shook violently and he was sent flying. You have completely mastered the power of the Flipping Sky Seal. How? How is this possible? Huang Tai's eyes revealed a trace of shock. He had just directly activated the power of the Thunder Dao fruit. That attack was terrifying. Even an ordinary saint would find it difficult to withstand it, let alone Ling Xiao. He did not expect that it would be so easily neutralized by the Flipping Sky Seal. Huang Tai could feel that Ling Xiao had completely activated the power of the Flipping Sky Seal. He could even feel the fluctuation of the artifact spirit. This supreme treasure already had an artifact spirit. Completely mastered the Flipping Sky Seal. It's true. Lei Qianjue took a deep breath and his eyes turned solemn. Artifact spirit? The white-clothed war god's eyes flashed with admiration. Lu Wenzheng and the others, who had been worried about Ling Xiao, finally heaved a sigh of relief. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Ling Xiao had created an almost impossible miracle as a great perfection god king by forcefully withstanding Huang Tai's attack. More and more disciples of the war god hall became hopeful for him. Nothing is impossible. Kill. Ling Xiao's qi and blood were boiling, and he felt his body trembling. Although he was protected by the flipping sky seal, he could still feel the invincible saint aura from Huang Tai. Without the flipping sky seal, he would have been annihilated into dust no matter how strong his body was. However, Ling Xiao had benefited a lot from this attack. Ling Xiao had obtained the legacy of the lightning the arch technique and the divine firmament lightning Tao from the divine firmament saint. These two supreme sage techniques contained the power of the lightning Tao. Meanwhile, Huang Tai had formed the lightning Tao fruit. Ling Xiao's understanding of the lightning Tao had improved by leaps and bounds after exchanging blows with Huang Tai. The sudden burst of inspiration had given him many insights. So he was not satisfied with the sky seal had sky seal. He held up the flipping sky seal with both hands. Like an ancient chaotic fiend god, he pressed down on Huang Tai with unstoppable momentum. So what if you can control the seal's power? Sword. Sword, sword. Huang Tai's the sword of the sky of heavens of heaven. The sky trembled violently. In an instant, streaks of blazing sword qi bloomed between heaven and earth. Behind Huang Tai, there seemed to be billions of streaks of sword light. Each streak of sword light contained terrifying power, and they shot directly toward the flipping sky seal. Seemed was sword had a was of star power. Firmament sword force, there was power. Sky had sky, there was sky of was sky. Streaks of sword radiance exploded, as though countless experts had self-destructed. The flipping sky seal trembled violently. Although Ling Xiao was in control of the flipping sky seal, the power of the sword radiance's explosion was still transmitted to his body through the flipping sky seal, causing his body to tremble violently and his flesh to crack. Crack. In an instant, the flipping sky seal shone brightly, as if a chaotic world had emerged. It contained the mysterious samsara power of life and death. It directly swallowed all the sword radiance in the sky and then suppressed Huang Tai. Slash. Huang Tai's eyes were indifferent. However, the invincible power of the flipping sky seal still shocked him. He couldn't help but shout and slashed out with both his hands at the same time. The sword light in the sky converged into a 10,000-meter-long sword essence. It slashed at the flipping sky seal, and a terrifying divine light burst out. Even Ling Xiao could feel a surge of energy surging towards him. The flipping sky seal was actually unable to withstand the power of this slash and was sent flying. Ling Xiao was instantly exposed in front of Huang Tai. Fire! Murderous intent flashed in Huang Tai's eyes. Without giving Ling Xiao a chance to react, he executed the third move. Rumble! Oh no! Lu Wenzheng's face turned pale. Boom! Boom! Ling Xiao was exposed in front of Huang Tai. Even if the flipping sky seal was still there, could it really protect Ling Xiao? Everyone's heart sank. Although Huang Tai had condensed the Thunder Dao fruit, he was still an alchemy saint. His strongest point was not the Thunder Divine Way, but the Flame Divine Way. His control over the flames was at his whim. Swoosh! The flipping sky seal flew back in an instant and swept away the sea of fire in the sky. However, a part of the flames still enveloped Ling Xiao. Rumble! This time, Long Out Yen is dead. I will still be the owner of the flip sky seal. Ha ha ha! Zhan Tianqing's eyes lit up. His body trembled uncontrollably. It was as if he had seen a glimmer of hope that he could control the flip sky seal. That is Huang Tai's royal sacred fire. It can even burn an ordinary saint to death. Long Out Yen is doomed. Lei Qianjue said slowly as a serious look appeared in his eyes. Huang Tai was extremely powerful. Not only had he condensed the Thunder Dao fruit, but he had also condensed the Flame Dao fruit. The yellow sacred fire was not only the supreme sacred fire that Huang Tai used to refine elixirs, but it also had the power to destroy heaven and earth. Boom! The royal sacred fire was dazzling. It contained a majestic and mysterious light, distorting the void around it. Everyone's expression changed. Was Long Outyin really going to die? Even the white-clothed war god's eyes lit up. Just as he was about to attack, his eyes flashed with a thoughtful look. He could not help but stop. Boom! Rumble. Chapter 1701. Buzz. The mountain began to tremble violently. Mysterious talismans flew out from it. They were as dazzling as the flying immortal light. All of them merged into the flipping sky seal, causing its aura to soar to a terrifying level. The entire war mountain became sparkling and translucent like glass. A mysterious power was awakened, turning into an ocean of laws. Ling Xiao was shrouded in blazing flames. The true meaning of the Great Path seemed to have integrated into his body at this moment. His eyes were extremely bright and resplendent. He raised the vast flipping sky seal and smashed it directly at Huang Tai. Saint Path Resonance. Oh no! Huang Tai's expression changed drastically. It was as if he had seen a scene from 1,000,000 years ago. His calm heart trembled violently as he felt a monstrous killing intent enveloping him. 1,000,000 years ago, a peerless figure wielded the flipping sky seal and fought against all the saints. He even killed many of them, causing them to bleed on War Mountain. That battle caused the heavens to collapse and the earth to crack. War Mountain was dyed red. At that time, Huang Tai was only a teenager. However, the peerless and invincible demeanor of that figure was deeply engraved in his heart. Now, Ling Xiao's figure seemed to have overlapped with that figure. Open up! Terrifying saint aura erupted from Huang Tai. Light shone above his head as if there were two dazzling suns floating. One was a Thunder Dao fruit while the other was a Flame Dao fruit. They intertwined to form a powerful Saint Path boundary. At the same time, a light flashed in Huang Tai's palm. A crimson cauldron appeared, exuding majestic saint light. It smashed toward the flipping sky seal. Huang Tai even took out the ultimate emperor cauldron. He's going to go all out. Some people looked shocked. 2 fruits of the way had appeared, and he had even activated the ultimate royal cauldron. Huang Tai looked as if he was facing a great enemy. Everyone was shocked. Long Outyin has resonated with the Saint Path. That's the Saint imprint. It's as if all the saints are activating the flipping sky seal. How can Huang Tai not be afraid? Have you forgotten the Scarlet Dragon war god from 1,000,000 years ago? An old man with white hair and a beard in a black Taoist robe sighed softly. Yes. Master of the Yin Hall, greets the Hall Master. Everyone was shocked. This white-haired old man was the master of the Yin Hall, Qing Changkong. He was also Qing Ying's father and a saint ancestor. They didn't expect him to be alarmed as well. However, everyone's attention was immediately drawn to the meaning behind Qing Changkong's words. 1,000,000 years ago, the Scarlet Dragon war god had used the cyclic sky seal to trigger the resonance of the Saint Dao. Afterwards, he had killed numerous saints, shocking the entire god realm. Crack! The void shattered with a loud bang. The boundless turbulence of the void trembled, causing the surrounding heavens and earth to howl violently. The ultimate power of the flipping sky seal seemed to have awakened. It collided with the ultimate royal tripod, causing it to tremble violently. Runes exploded one after another. Flames and lightning intertwined, setting off a terrifying divine light storm. Boom! The ultimate emperor cauldron was sent flying, and its light dimmed. Huang Tai trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura weakened. Everyone was petrified. Who was that? The supreme elder of the 9 imperial obelisk, the alchemy saint, Huang Tai, was injured by Ling Xiao. Everyone felt that it was unreal. Everything in front of them was too shocking. Ling Xiao, who was at the Divine King realm, used the flipping sky seal to injure Huang Tai. It was a magnificent feat that no one dared to imagine. It could be said that it was a miracle. This kid is too impulsive. Lu Wenjing scolded with a smile. The huge rock in his heart was finally lifted, and his face was filled with unconcealable pride. Old man, stop pretending. Are you very proud? My brother has made your battle hall so proud. Can you give me that Saint Heart grass of yours? The black donkey licked his lips and moved forward, staring at Lu Wenjing. Scram! Lu Wenjing's smile froze, and he suddenly felt black lines on his forehead. This black donkey's mouth was too cheap. He kicked the black donkey away. Fine, I won't give it to you. Stingy. The black donkey rolled a few times, stood up from the ground, and muttered softly. Everyone was very excited. All the disciples and elders of the War God Temple were cheering for this moment. At this moment, when they thought about Ling Xiao's words, they realized that it wasn't arrogance, but confidence. Ling Xiao wanted to use this battle to tell everyone. Those who offend the War God Temple, even if they are saints, will have to pay the price. Boom! Huang Tai's body was surrounded by dazzling divine light. He breathed in heavenly essence, exuding the aura of wind and thunder, causing the void to tremble slightly. The injuries on his body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, there was a trace of pain in his eyes. The foundation of the Extreme Emperor Cauldron was damaged by the Flipping Sky Seal. Although they were both saint treasures, the Flipping Sky Seal and the Extreme Emperor Cauldron were naturally different. In order to restore the Extreme Emperor Cauldron to its original state, Huang Tai would have to spend a few hundred years nurturing it. This time, not only did Huang Tai lose face, but even the Extreme Emperor Cauldron was damaged. It could be said that he had suffered a great loss. Ha ha ha. Flipping Sky Seal. Saint Dao Resonance. Great. Very good. Long Out Yen, this old man will remember you. War God, this old man will take his leave. Huang Tai was so angry that he laughed. His eyes were extremely gloomy, revealing a trace of undisguised killing intent. He then looked coldly at the War God in white, rolled up his sleeves, and left the War God Temple with Huang Yu and Huang Wudao. He was too ashamed to continue staying here. As a saint, he had been injured by an immortal king. If this news spread, Huang Tai's reputation would be ruined. The War God in white's eyes were calm and deep. He glanced at Huang Tai indifferently with a trace of coldness in his eyes. Zhan Tianqing, Lei Qianjue, Xing Jun, and the others' expressions were extremely ugly. They were like frosted eggplants. Their hearts were filled with reluctance, but there was nothing they could do. They knew that this battle had brought Ling Xiao's prestige in the War God Temple to the peak, just as Lei Qianjue had predicted. Next, it was only logical that he would become the War God Temple's master. They did not even have the ability to stop him. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, 3 powerful auras swept across the sky. They quickly arrived at the War Mountain and stood in front of Ling Xiao. They were 2 men and a woman. Both of them looked to be in their 20s. One of them was wearing a red robe, while the other was wearing a black armor. Both of them were tall and handsome. Both of them had reached the 7th Revolution half-saint realm. The woman was wearing a white dress. Her temperament was extraordinary and elegant. Her skin was sparkling and translucent like jade. She had a flawless face. She looked graceful and magnanimous. She had an aura of being detached from the world. Her eyes were sky blue, as bright as gems. Her gaze was full of curiosity as she looked at Ling Xiao. Chapter 1702. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat as he quickly guessed the identities of these 3 people. In the entire War God Hall, there were only 3 saints whose cultivation had surpassed the 7th Revolution half-saint at such a young age. Ni Shang from the Heaven Hall, Wu Xiong from the Earth Hall, and Gao Yang from the Yang Hall. These 3 saints were extremely talented and powerful. They were known as the future hope of the War God Hall. Ling Xiao could feel that the three of them were exuberant and had powerful bloodlines. They exuded the true meaning of the Great Path. Even if they were to face a ninth revolution half-saint, they would be able to put up a fight. These were the true prodigies. Junior brother Long, as a divine king, you defeated Huang Wudao in 3 moves and even injured Huang Tai. You have created a miracle and lifted the spirits of the war god hall. Good job. Wu Xiong, who was dressed in black armor, had an incomparably sincere expression on his face as he spoke seriously. That's right. Ha ha ha. Junior brother Long not only has an extraordinary innate talent, but his eloquence is also formidable. Listening to him scolding that old bastard Huang Tai was really fucking delightful. I would have gone up and beaten that old bastard up if it weren't for my insufficient strength. Gao Yang, who was dressed in a red robe, looked carefree and unrestrained. He patted Ling Zhao's shoulder and laughed heartily. Senior brothers, you flatter me. I was just doing my duty as a disciple of the war god hall. Ling Xiao said with a smile. He could feel the goodwill of these 2 saints, which made him feel gratified. Fortunately, not everyone in the war god hall was like Zhang Tianqing and Lei Qianjue. Well said. Duty. How many people are able to do their duty? I can't stand those cowards who only know how to boost the morale of others and diminish their own prestige. Gao Yang sneered and glanced at Zhang Tianqing maliciously. Zhang Tianqing's body stiffened, and his eyes were filled with shame and anger. He hated Ling Xiao even more. Ling Xiao was in the limelight today, but all of this should have been Zhang Tianqing's. If Ling Xiao had not snatched the flipping sky seal from him, Ling Xiao would not have had the chance to do so. His heart was filled with hatred and jealousy. Junior brother Long, well done. Ni Shang said softly, and her eyes were filled with admiration. Her voice was clear and ethereal, and she smiled faintly. This smile instantly caused the world to lose its color. Many thanks, senior sister Ni Shang. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ni Shang was the legend of the War God Temple and also the goddess in the hearts of everyone in the War God Temple. She was extremely beautiful and had an extraordinary temperament. In Ling Zhao's opinion, only the Xian King, Ji Feishuan, could be compared to her. For hundreds of thousands of years, the god of war had only taken in 2 disciples. One was the current deputy hall master of the heavenly hall, Yang Fan, and the other was Ni Shang. It was said that Ni Shang wasn't even 100 years old yet. She possessed great talent and was able to control the power of time. Therefore, her attainments in the art of aging eternity were extremely deep. Ling Xiao was even wondering if Ni Shang had also obtained the inheritance of menstruation. However, Ni Shang looked like a deep pool of water, and Ling Xiao couldn't tell how deep she was. My holy maiden, I've never seen her smile before. She actually smiled at junior brother Long. Wu Xiong pretended to be jealous and sighed. You're so ugly. Ni Shang can't smile even if she wants to. Only junior brother Long's peerless demeanor can make Ni Shang smile. Gao Yang couldn't help but strike a blow. Scram! Wu Xiong pretended to be indignant. Ling Xiao smiled inwardly. It seemed that the 3 holy sons had a good relationship. That was why they could joke around so casually. Long out yen. An ethereal and clear voice rang out from the War Mountain. Everyone immediately quieted down and looked respectfully at the white-clothed god of war. They had already guessed what the white-clothed god of war wanted to say. As a disciple of the War Hall, you've successfully obtained the inheritance of the flipping sky seal. Furthermore, you're not afraid of strong enemies. You've protected the dignity of the War Hall and made a great contribution. I hereby promote you to the Lord of the War Hall. I hope that you will work hard in your cultivation and bring the War Hall to greater heights and restore its former glory. The white-clothed god of war's voice was very calm, but it was no different from a sudden clap of thunder that exploded in everyone's hearts. The Lord of the War Hall. These 4 words carried a lot of weight. Everyone knew that in the 9 branches of the War Hall, the god of war was the most respected. Apart from the god of war, the lords of the 9 branches and the supreme elders had the highest status. Even the holy sons were only disciples, comparable to the deputy lord of the war hall. They still had to salute the lord of the war hall. It could be said that Ling Xiao had leaped to the top of the entire war hall. He was one of the few people with the highest status, comparable to the supreme elders of the Saint Realm. Although they had already guessed this result, after hearing it now, Zhan Tianqing, Lei Qianjue, Xing Jun, and the others' faces were extremely gloomy. Especially Zhan Tianqing, whose fingernails were deeply embedded in his flesh. His face was extremely twisted, and he was about to go crazy with jealousy. From now on, Ling Xiao's status was no longer a constraint. Even Zhan Tianqing and Lei Qianjue had to salute him when they saw him. In addition, Long Outyen obtained the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon God of War in the Flipping Sky Seal. With the approval of the Flipping Sky Seal, he is now the successor disciple of the Scarlet Dragon God of War. So from now on, Long Outyen's seniority is the same as Uncle Lu's. All disciples have to obey him. The white-clothed war god said slowly and released another piece of news, which suddenly shocked everyone. The successor disciple of the Scarlet Dragon God of War. The Scarlet Dragon God of War was a peerless figure 1,000,000 years ago. Even the white-clothed war god of war had to call him Uncle Master. Therefore, although Lu Wenzheng was the nominal disciple of the Scarlet Dragon God of War, the white-clothed war god of war had to call him Uncle Master. Didn't that mean that Long Outyen had become the junior uncle of the war god of war? The numerous disciples of the War God Temple, regardless of whether they are inner court disciples or true disciples, all have to address Long Outyen as martial granduncle. This seniority was so high that it scared people to death. However, in the War God Temple, the War God of War had supreme majesty and power. Since she had announced and acknowledged it, there was no right to oppose. Even if they were unwilling, they could only pinch their noses and accept it. Ha ha ha. The War God of War is right. Junior brother, why are you still standing there? Hurry up and thank the War God of War. Lu Wenzheng was extremely excited. Ling Xiao's identity as the disciple of the Scarlet Dragon God of War was finally confirmed. He had another layer of insurance in the future. Thank you. The War God of War. Ling Xiao was also a little stunned. After a while, he reacted and bowed to the white-clothed war god of war. Ling Xiao could understand letting him become the master of the war god of war, but the white-clothed war god of war actually gave him the identity of the disciple of the Scarlet Dragon God of War. It was equivalent to giving him the title of junior uncle. Ling Xiao could not understand what the white-clothed war god was trying to do. Lei Qianjue and Xing Jun's faces were extremely ugly. Because from now on, they not only had to bow to Ling Xiao, but they also had to call him Uncle Master. This was even more unbearable than killing them. I am the Uncle Master. Puff, Zhan Tianqing was so angry that he muttered to himself. Then, his vision turned black and he directly fainted. Chapter 1703. Senior. Senior Uncle Long, you've really gone overboard this time. Gao Yang said with his eyes wide open. His face was filled with a bitter smile. Just a second ago, they were still addressing Ling Xiao as junior brother Long, but in the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao had become their senior Uncle Long. It was indeed hard for them to accept. Senior brother Gao, senior brother Wu, senior sister Nai Shang, this. I didn't expect it to be like this. Why don't we address each other separately? Anyway, cultivators like us don't need to be constrained by seniority. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. Don't. Senior Uncle Long, if we dare to address you as junior brother, wouldn't our master beat us to death? Senior Uncle Long, so be it. Who asked you to become the battle hall master? Wu Xiong smiled bitterly. Senior Uncle Long, let's not be so formal about seniority. This time, we have something to ask you to go with us. I wonder if you're interested. Nai Shang smiled as if she didn't have any objection to Ling Xiao becoming a senior Uncle Long. She accepted it very naturally. What is it? Ling Xiao asked curiously. The great Zhou divine nation of the Grand Heavens region has a martial hidden mountain that will open soon. Legend has it that there is a flawless secret skill hidden in the martial hidden mountain. We're planning to take a look at the martial hidden mountain. I wonder if you're interested. Ni Shang said slowly. Martial hidden mountain. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed, and he couldn't help but glance at the Xian King Ji Feishuan in the distance. Ji Feishuan was the princess of the great Zhou divine nation. She had told Ling Xiao that there was a flawless secret skill in the martial hidden mountain, but he didn't expect the martial hidden mountain of the great Zhou divine nation to open soon. Ling Xiao was naturally very interested in the flawless secret skill. The various secret skills in the wordless heavenly book were extremely useful to him, especially the Tiangang secret skill. Every time he obtained one, his strength would increase greatly. When? I'm indeed interested. Ling Xiao nodded and said. It should be in the next 1 to 2 months. We're preparing to set off in a month. If Senior Uncle Long is interested, we'll go together then. Ni Shang smiled faintly. All right. Ling Xiao nodded. In that case, we'll take our leave first. When Martial Granduncle Long's promotion ceremony begins, we'll come again to celebrate. Ni Shang, Wu Xiong, and Gao Yang quickly left the War Mountain. They agreed to meet again after the promotion ceremony. In the War God Temple, the promotion of a Hall Master was an extremely important event, second only to the promotion ceremony of the War God Supreme. A grand ceremony had to be held to celebrate it. It was also the glory of the 9 branches, representing the birth of the new Hall Masters. Ling Xiao was already the Battle Hall Master, and the elders of the sect were planning to prepare a promotion ceremony for him. It should be held in a few days. At that time, the hundreds of thousands of disciples of the Battle God Shrine would participate, and the other 8 Hall Masters would also appear. With the departure of the white-clothed War God, everyone also slowly retreated. The same thought appeared in their minds. From today onwards, the Battle Hall would truly rise. The scene of Ling Xiao injuring Elder Huang Tai with the flipping sky seal was deeply engraved in everyone's hearts. Ling Xiao had also used this battle to establish his prestige. At this moment, Ling Xiao's position in the hearts of many disciples and elders was not any weaker than that of the 3 saints. Let's go. Lei Qianjue looked deeply at Ling Xiao and left with Zhang Tianxing, who had fainted from anger. This time, it could be said that they were disheartened. They wanted to see Ling Xiao make a fool of himself, but in the end, not only did they not see anything, but they were also ruthlessly slapped in the face by Ling Xiao. Especially when they thought about how they would have to call Ling Xiao martial uncle in the future, even Lei Qianjue and Xing Jun's faces turned pale. Soon, only Ling Xiao, Lu Wenzheng, Tian Gang, and the other members of the battle hall were left on the War Mountain. Lu Wenzheng, Tian Gang, and the others looked at each other and smiled. Then, they bowed to Ling Xiao at the same time and said, "Greetings, Hall Master." "What Palace Master? You're really making me look bad. Everyone here is on the same side, so there's no need to be so polite," Ling Xiao said with a wry smile. Ling Xiao was not used to suddenly becoming the Hall Master of the Battle Hall, and his status was even higher by a few generations. However, he also knew that the burden on his shoulders had become heavier. As the Hall Master of the Battle Hall, he had to fulfill the dying wish of the Scarlet Dragon God of War and restore the glory of the Battle Hall to the glory of 1,000,000 years ago. Little junior brother, I didn't expect you to not only completely refine the flipping sky seal, but also to be able to resonate with the saint path. Even Huang Tai, that old man, was chased away by you. If Master knew about this in the underworld, he would be very happy, Lu Wenjing said with great relief. His life's dream was to see the battle hall restored to its former glory, and today, he finally saw hope in Ling Xiao. Senior brother, I was just lucky. The weapon spirit of the flipping sky seal had disappeared long ago. I turned the Thunder Spirit King into the weapon spirit of the flipping sky seal, and only then was I able to completely control the flipping sky seal, Ling Xiao said with a smile. He then told them about what had happened in the flipping sky seal. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect the world in the flipping sky seal to be so mysterious. There was actually a world of death inside. Palace Master, I didn't expect the world in the flipping sky seal to be so dangerous. Zhan Tianqing is indeed from the bloodline of the war tribe. If you hadn't obtained the red spider lily, I'm afraid the flipping sky seal would have fallen into his hands. Tiangang said with some emotion. Everyone nodded in agreement. If Zhan Tianqing had obtained the flipping sky seal, they would be in big trouble. Now that Zhan Tianqing had become the hall master of the battle hall, the rest of them would probably be in a miserable state. After all, Zhan Tianqing was a member of the Thunder Hall. Naturally, he wouldn't think of the battle hall wholeheartedly. Kid, although you have control of the flipping sky seal, you can't be so arrogant. This treasure should be placed on the battle mountain. When it resonates with the Saint Path, it will be able to unleash its greatest power. If you were to face a true saint outside of the Battle God Hall, it's hard to say who would win. Black Donkey said slowly. He had seen through Ling Zhao's strength at a glance. Although the flipping sky seal was powerful, it was just an external object. Moreover, with Ling Zhao's current cultivation, he didn't have the strength to fully control the flipping sky seal. I know. The flipping sky seal is just a means. Personal strength is the foundation. Senior brothers, you have all reached the great divine king realm. As long as you comprehend your own saint path, you will be able to break through to the sage-to-be realm. You are all the future and hope of the battle hall. The revival of the battle hall will depend on everyone's efforts. Ling Xiao said with a smile. This time, it wasn't just him. Everyone in the Battle God Hall had also obtained a great opportunity. They had refined the great Tao precepts and true intent and were on the verge of a breakthrough. Soon, the Battle Hall would have more than a dozen sage-to-be experts. Chapter 1704. The news that Ling Xiao had become the Battle Hall Master had spread across the entire War God Temple. Countless disciples and elders were excited. Some were doubtful, some were envious, and some were jealous. Everyone was talking about it. Most importantly, Ling Xiao was only a divine king, not even a half-saint. Many people were not convinced that such a person could become the Battle Hall Master. After all, when the other temple masters became temple masters, almost all of them had reached the saint realm. At the very least, they were Ninth Revolution half-saints. It was hard not to doubt that a divine king could become the Battle Hall Master. Those who saw the battle between Ling Xiao and Huang Tai on War Mountain didn't have any doubts about the result. On the contrary, they were extremely excited and regarded Ling Xiao as their idol. Saints had always been the synonym of invincibility in everyone's heart. However, Ling Xiao, a divine king, had crossed over a dozen small realms and defied the heavens to injure Huang Tai. This gave the disciples of the War God Temple great confidence. Perhaps one day, they would also be able to attain the Tao and become a sage, or even kill a sage. This confidence was very important. It made the entire War God Temple full of vitality. The War God Temple's battle intent that had been passed down for a long time was surging. It was as if the spirit that flowed in the blood of the War God Temple had been awakened. Many elders and hall masters noticed this change. They were extremely excited and gratified. At the same time, their resistance to calling Ling Xiao martial uncle had decreased a lot. This sense of belonging and recognition towards the sect was the key to an immortal sacred land's everlasting prosperity. Therefore, when they knew that Ling Xiao's promotion ceremony would be held 3 days later, the entire War God Temple was in an uproar. Even many disciples and elders who were in seclusion or doing missions came out of seclusion or returned to the sect to participate in the ceremony. Battle Hall. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the battle hall, digesting the gains from the battle. At the same time, there was a dense wave of breakthrough energy around him. Ling Xiao's cultivation had reached the pinnacle of the divine king realm. If he did not suppress it, he could have gone through the nirvana tribulation and broken through to the half-saint realm. However, Ling Xiao was still refining his body and cultivation. He wanted to reach a perfect state. Thunder Spirit King, when can you break through to the saint realm? The flipping sky seal floated above Ling Zhao's head, sprinkling dazzling light. Ling Zhao's soul spirit was talking to the Thunder Spirit King. Master, I've completely refined the Tao fruit of death, but my core is the power of thunder. Once I condense the Tao fruit of thunder, I'll break through to the sage realm. At that time, Master will be able to kill Huang Tai with the flipping sky seal even without resonating with the saint path. Thunder Spirit King said slowly. There was a trace of excitement in his eyes. Originally, he had a thunder spirit body. He had been stuck at the 9th Revolution half-saint realm for countless years in Divine Cloud Valley, but after becoming the implement spirit of the cyclic sky seal and refining the Death Tao fruit, he saw hope for a breakthrough. Although the Thunder Spirit King had become the device spirit of the flipping sky seal, he had not broken through to the saint realm. Hence, he could not fully activate the power of the flipping sky seal, especially the Extreme Emperor aura. If he could activate the Extreme Emperor aura, even Huang Tai would be turned into dust in an instant. Very good. Your top priority is to completely control the flipping sky seal. Otherwise, once we leave War Mountain, I'm afraid the power we can use will be extremely limited. Ling Zhao said slowly. He had seen through the battle with Huang Tai. Although the Thunder Spirit King had become the device spirit of the flipping sky seal, his cultivation level was still insufficient. Hence, the power he could use was limited. If he had not resonated with the saint path, he would not have been able to injure Huang Tai at all. He might even have died in Huang Tai's hands. The terror of a sage was not something that ordinary people could imagine. Thunder Spirit King, do you recognize these 3 elixirs? Light flashed in Ling Zhao's hand, and 3 golden elixirs appeared. They were the size of a longan fruit and looked like they were cast in gold. There was the sound of metal and stone, but they were extremely heavy. They were like 3 mountains that weighed millions of pounds. These were the 3 elixirs that Ling Zhao had obtained from the 8 trigrams furnace in Divine Cloud Valley. However, he could not recognize the use of these 3 elixirs. These 3 elixirs were extremely heavy. Even a normal half-saint treasure could not break them. These are the divine fine elixirs left behind by the Divine Cloud Saint. Master actually obtained them. This is a great opportunity. Seeing these 3 golden elixirs, even the Thunder Spirit King trembled. His eyes were filled with excitement. Divine fine elixirs? What kind of elixir is this? I have never heard of it before. Ling Zhao was a little confused. He had heard of all kinds of elixirs in the divine world. However, he had never heard of this divine fine elixir. It is normal that Master has never heard of it. This is because these 3 divine fine elixirs have an extraordinary origin. They came from the legendary alchemy realm. They are the remnants of 3 sages' elixirs when they turned into Tao. The Thunder Spirit King said emotionally. Alchemy realm? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He had heard of the mortal realm before. Although the divine world was the center of all the worlds, there were still many worlds that were not weaker than the divine world. For example, the divine world's archenemy, the demon world, the underworld, and so on. The alchemy realm was also one of the 3,000 worlds. It was said that it was an elixir that absorbed the essence of heaven and earth. It was said that it was created by the alchemy realm. Some of the elixirs in the alchemy realm were refined by humans. However, the elixirs had a spirit and escaped into the alchemy realm. Some of them were born from heaven and earth. They contained all kinds of mysterious effects. In the alchemy realm, they could even break free from the restrictions of fate and turn into human form. They could cultivate independently. For an elixir to turn into a sage, it was hundreds or thousands of times more difficult than for a human to do so. Ling Zhao did not expect that these 3 golden elixirs were the remnants of the sages in the alchemy realm. What are the effects of these 3 elixirs? Since they have turned into Tao, the essence of these elixirs has been lost. The remaining elixirs are useless, right? Ling Zhao asked curiously. He knew very little about the mortal realm. Of course not. The remnants of these 3 elixirs of the sages are extremely useful to master. Although the essence of the elixirs has been lost, these 3 deity fine elixirs are comparable to the corpses of 3 sages. Even if they are used to refine weapons, they can be refined into a perfect sage treasure. Most importantly, they can forcefully increase the quality of the elixirs and unleash the power of the elixirs to the maximum. Just like the Tao Enlightening Sage elixir that Master obtained. If it is combined with the Deity Fine elixir, it can be upgraded into the Tao Enlightening Sage King elixir. Its effect is 10 times or even 100 times stronger than the Tao Enlightening Sage elixir. Even if Huang Tai worked himself to death, he would not be able to refine it. The Tao Enlightening Sage King elixir can even help one to become a sage. Do you think these Deity Fine elixirs are useful? Chapter 1705. It can improve the quality of the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill. This Deity Fine Pill is really heaven-defying. Ling Xiao was also shocked by Thunder Spirit King's words. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill was already an extremely precious divine pill, but the Deity Fine Pill could improve it to the level of Saint King Pill, which was really heaven-defying. Yeah. That's the Saint of the Alchemy Realm, which contains the fortune of heaven and earth. Since ancient times, the alchemy realm's elixirs have always been the favorite of the experts. If Master has a chance to go to the alchemy realm in the future and devour a large number of elixirs, his cultivation will definitely advance by leaps and bounds. Thunder Spirit King smiled and said, "Alchemy realm? If I have a chance, I will definitely go and see it. However, with this Deity Fine Pill, I will be able to break through to the half-saint realm without any obstacles." Ling Xiao nodded and said with a sharp light in his eyes. He took out a Tao Comprehending Divine Pill. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill was crystal clear, pure white and flawless like the sun. It flowed with mysterious Taoist rhymes and emitted bursts of fragrance. Ling Xiao followed Thunder Spirit King's instructions and brought the Deity Fine Pill and the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill close to each other. Suddenly, he saw an incomparably magical scene. The Deity Fine Pill, which was originally incomparably hard, buzzed when it got close to the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill. It instantly melted and turned into a golden liquid, which seeped into the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill at a speed visible to the naked eye. Boom! The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill violently trembled and emitted incomparably bright light. Mysterious tentacles shot into the surrounding void and began to absorb the power of the void. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill's aura began to skyrocket. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill was enshrouded in dense light and instantly turned into a pure gold color. Moreover, the mysterious Taoist rhymes were ethereal, forming a mysterious halo around the elixir as if it was a mysterious world. Ling Xiao felt that the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill had become different. That vast Tao Comprehending intent was incomparably mysterious. Rumble. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill emitted dazzling light and dyed the entire battle hall in pure gold. It overflowed outside of the battle hall, causing a mysterious and vast Taoist rhyme to float above the battle mountain. This is such a powerful Taoist rhyme. Outside the battle hall, Lu Wenjing opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with shock. Tian Gang, Xian Wang, and the others also walked out of the cave. They felt comfortable all over, and their yuan spirits were clear. It was as if they had become one with the Tao of heaven and earth. This feeling was incomparably intoxicating. Boom! The Celestial Dipper, Xian Wang, Iron Bull, Black Donkey, Fengya, and the others were all enveloped by the vast Taoist rhyme. Their entire bodies actually emitted an aura of a breakthrough. This is the aura of the Tao Comprehension Holy Pill. But how can the Tao Comprehension Sage Pill have such a powerful Tao aura that can affect the entire War Mountain? Lu Wenjing had no idea what was going on in the battle hall. The Taoist rhyme that permeated the air had actually caused Tian Gang and the others to enter a state of Tao comprehension, entering the deepest state of cultivation. Little junior brother, you've gone too far this time. Could it be that you intend to let them undergo the Nirvana tribulation at the same time? Lu Wenjing said with a wry smile, his face full of shock. Rumble. The sky-flipping seal shone brightly. In an instant, the entire War Mountain's grand array was activated. A vast array barrier enveloped the entire War Mountain, concealing the aura of the Celestial Dipper and the others. The commotion on War Mountain had also alerted the disciples and elders of the other factions. What's going on? Why is the Grand Array of War Mountain activated? Could it be that a powerful enemy has invaded? Someone exclaimed. No powerful enemy has invaded. I'm afraid it's the work of Marshal Granduncle Long again. He's really restless. His promotion ceremony is in 3 days. At that time, he will have to meet the Supreme Elders. What's going on now that the Grand Array has been activated? Could it be that he's cultivating some kind of secret technique? Everyone was discussing spiritedly, trying to guess what had happened on War Mountain. In the Thunder Hall, Zhan Tianqing woke up. His face was extremely pale and his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Tianqing, victory and defeat are common. Don't take it to heart. As the saying goes, the tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. Long Outyen is so arrogant and despotic. He must have a way to die. Lei Qianjue looked at Zhan Tianqing and comforted him. I can't accept this. The sky-flipping seal is mine. The Battle Hall Master is also mine. What did Long Outyen do to deserve it? He and I are irreconcilable. Zhan Tianqing growled. His eyes were bloodshot. You can't accept this. So what if you can't accept this? Are you a match for him? At this moment, an indifferent voice rang out in the void. A ray of light flashed in the Thunder Hall. Instantly, a middle-aged man in a purple robe appeared. A mysterious Taoist rhyme flowed around his body. His aura was as vast as the sea. It was unfathomable. Zhan Tianqing shuddered. He quickly bowed and said, Greetings, Master. Please help me. Long Outyen has gone too far. Zhan Tianqing's eyes were red. He looked like a bullied child who had just met his parents. He felt wronged. This was because he knew that the middle-aged man in purple robe was his biggest backer. He was the person who could hold up the sky for him and sweep through everything. The Thunder Hall Master, Lei Xuanji. Big brother, you have finally come out of seclusion. Could it be that you have taken that step? Lei Qianjue quickly bowed as well. His eyes were filled with surprise. That step is not that easy to take. Just a little bit more. But you have really disappointed me. I didn't expect to hear such a thing as soon as I came out of seclusion. I can't believe that you have indulged a puny ant to this extent. Lei Xuanji said coldly. Lightning flashed in his eyes. It was as if he could see the horrifying scene of the birth and death of the world. Lei Qianjue smiled bitterly and said, Big brother, I didn't expect that little bastard to grow so quickly. I didn't think that he would be a match for Tianqing. I didn't expect him to be able to obtain the sky-flipping seal's inheritance. This is too unexpected. This is strange. Tianqing, tell me everything that happened in the sky-flipping seal world. Especially how Long Outyen obtained the sky-flipping seal. Lei Xuanji said slowly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Yes. Zhan Tianqing immediately told him everything that had happened. Something is wrong. You have already controlled the core of the array and refined 90% of it. Even if he managed to get the remaining 10%, how could he turn the tables? Unless, the Scarlet Dragon of War left a backup plan. But why would the Scarlet Dragon of War choose him? Chapter 1706. Big brother, I don't care what's wrong with Long Outyen. He has to die. But now that he has the sky-flipping seal, even Huang Tai was defeated by him. It's going to be difficult for us to deal with him. Lei Qianjue said with a wry smile. It's going to be difficult to deal with him now. But we don't need to do anything. Huang Tai is a vengeful old man. He won't let Long Outyen go. Lei Xuanji said coldly. Huang Tai. Lei Qianjue's eyes lit up. Big brother is right. Huang Tai is a saint, but he was defeated by Long Outyen. Huang Tai will definitely find trouble with him. Let's keep an eye on Long Out Yen's whereabouts. If he dares to leave the sect, I'll find a way to inform Huang Tai. I'll leave it to you. Tianqing, don't let Long Out Yen affect your spirit. You've been stuck at the 6th revolution half-saint for a long time. Once you reach the 7th revolution, you'll be the 4th holy son of the war god temple. Now that the world is changing, I'm afraid this era is coming to an end. The Heavenly Choice Conference is going to happen again. Lei Xuanji said slowly. His eyes were filled with vicissitudes. The Heavenly Choice Conference? Big brother, is it the Heavenly Choice Conference that is said to be at the end of the era? The Heavenly Choice child will have the potential to become a great emperor? Lei Qianjue's eyes lit up as he said excitedly. The Heavenly Choice Conference was a grand event that involved the myriad worlds. Countless geniuses and prodigies would compete for the opportunity to become a great emperor. For example, the 9 great emperors of the human race had obtained the opportunity to become a great emperor in the last Heavenly Choice Conference. That was how they were able to become great emperors and lead the human race to glory. The Heavenly Choice Conference would sweep across the 3,000 great worlds. When the time came, countless prodigies would gather and it would usher in a new era. The prodigies of the 12 immortal sacred grounds in the divine world might be strong, but they were nothing compared to the Heavenly Choice Conference. In the Heavenly Choice Conference, there would be countless prodigies and prodigies that were sealed in the ancient times. Even the princes and princesses would appear. It would be a grand era. It's a pity that only those below the sage realm can participate in the heavenly selection meeting. I won't be able to participate. Qianjue, Tianheng, both of you have a chance. Cultivate hard. When the time comes to compete with the geniuses of all the realms, that is your opportunity. Compared to the Heavenly Chosen Convention, a mere Long Out Yen is nothing but an ant, not worth mentioning. Lei Xuanji said slowly. Yes. Master, rest assured. In the Heaven's Choice Assembly, I'll definitely seize the title of Heaven's Chosen Son. Zhan Tianqing's face was filled with excitement. His eyes were filled with hope, and his fighting spirit was ignited again. 9 Imperial Obelisk. Ancestor, the war god temple is going too far. And that Long Out Yen, he deserves to die. Are we just going to let it go? Huang Yu gritted his teeth as he spoke with a gloomy expression on his face. His experience in the War God Hall was a great humiliation to him, especially when Huang Tai had been injured by Long Out Yen. He felt a little mad when he thought about how they had left the War God Hall. Are we just going to let it go? How is that possible? Long Out Yen must die. Hand over the flipping sky seal of the War God Temple. Huang Tai said indifferently with a hint of killing intent in his eyes. Ancestor, Long Out Yen controls the flipping sky seal and has the combat strength of a sage. Even if he leaves the War God Temple, it won't be easy to kill him, right? Huang Yu asked. Not necessarily. Although Long Out Yen controls the flipping sky seal, he can't fully unleash its power. He can only rely on the Saint Path resonance. As long as he leaves the War God Temple, even with the flipping sky seal, he won't be a match for a sage. Huang Tai's eyes flashed with a cold light. Huang Yu was shocked. He quickly asked, Ancestor, are you going to do it yourself? I can't do it. After all, we're still allies on the surface. Inform Luo Sha to be on standby. As long as Long Out Yen leaves the War God Temple, ask her to kill him and bring the flipping sky seal back. Huang Tai said indifferently. Yes. Huang Yu bowed respectfully, then turned and left. The War God Temple was filled with dazzling light and Taoist rhymes. It was peaceful and mysterious. After fusing with the deity pill, the enlightenment sage pill exploded with boundless energy. It floated in front of Ling Xiao's forehead and the vast Taoist rhymes merged with his body. Ling Xiao instantly felt himself flying out of the War God Temple, out of the War Mountain, and into the depths of the endless void. It was as though he had become one with the heavenly Tao of the divine world. He was surrounded by the vast great Tao law that was within reach. Ling Xiao's cultivation had reached the great circle of the divine king realm. He was only one step away from crossing the nirvana tribulation and breaking through to the sage-to-be realm. However, this step was difficult for many people. In order to break through to the sage-to-be realm, one had to comprehend the true meaning of the Great Tao. This was also the beginning of comprehending the true meaning of the Great Tao. Only by gradually comprehending the true meaning of the Great Tao and condensing one's own sage path could one become a sage. Ling Xiao was now standing at such a crucial moment. He had to comprehend his own true meaning of the Great Tao. To others, comprehending a type of Great Tao true intent might be extremely difficult. One would need to go through a very long period of cultivation, sudden enlightenment, and observing the heaven and earth to be able to achieve it. However, to Ling Xiao, it was very easy. The difficulty lay in the choice. Ling Xiao cultivated the sky-devouring mystic technique, so he could comprehend the sky-devouring true meaning. He had the lightning emperor technique and the divine firmament lightning Tao, so he could comprehend the true meaning of lightning. He cultivated the great void heart charm sutra, so he could comprehend the true meaning of heart charm. He cultivated the true meaning of time, so he could comprehend the true meaning of fate, so he could comprehend the true meaning of calamity annihilation. Ling Xiao had bravely advanced all the way to where he was today. He had obtained many fortuitous opportunities that many people might not be able to obtain in their lifetime. The martial arts and secret techniques he cultivated were all earth-shattering ultimate techniques that pointed directly to the true meaning of the Great Tao. If Ling Xiao wanted to break through, any true meaning of the Great Tao would be able to help him break through. However, Ling Xiao was unwilling to break through just like that. He wanted to walk the path of invincibility that no one had ever seen before. He wanted to achieve the peerless divine path, so he had to create his own true will of the great path. This was also the foundation of his future divine path. Therefore, at this moment, Ling Xiao was not in a hurry to break through. Instead, he sat there cross-legged and sank into a state of indifference. His entire body was shrouded in dazzling light. He had sunk into the deepest state of Tao comprehension. The sky-devouring mystic technique, the lightning emperor technique, the divine firmament lightning Tao, the great void heart charm sutra, the true meaning of time, the true meaning of life, the true meaning of life, the true meaning of the great Tao flowed slowly in Ling Xiao's heart. They turned into mysterious runes that revolved around him. Ling Xiao's aura became increasingly ethereal and unfathomable. Chapter 1707. Rumble. The light around Ling Xiao became even more dazzling and chaotic mist filled the air. His lips curled into a smile without any emotion. His skin flowed with a mysterious luster and Taoist rhymes circled around him. Streaks of purple gas rose from Ling Xiao's body, causing his body to emit an immortal fluctuation. The divine power law in his body was as vast as the sea. It contained the mysterious phenomenon of the birth and death of lightning, the creation of time, and the flow of life and death. His primordial spirit was clear and flawless, like an ancient heavenly emperor sitting cross-legged in the void, suppressing the myriad of worlds. His heart realm was between reality and illusion. His heart force flowed, allowing him to see through the long river of fate and the scene of countless years in the future. Essence, Qi, Spirit, Heart. These were the four types of energy in Ling Xiao's body, but they merged into one in the chaos at the same time, perfect and flawless. The key to breaking through to the sage-to-be realm is the true meaning of the great path. My primordial spirit has the true meaning of time and fate. My divine power law has the true meaning of devouring. My heart has the true meaning of heart talisman. My body has the true meaning of chaos. Ling Xiao seemed to be sitting alone in the endless chaos, comprehending the vast true meaning of the great path. He gradually understood. The body is the foundation, the origin of the primordial spirit, the foundation of the divine power law, and the origin of the heart. If I break through to the sage-to-be realm, the true meaning of chaos is the best choice. Chaos is all-encompassing and all-encompassing. Only by accommodating the heavens can I open my own path. The voice in Ling Xiao's heart became louder and louder. It was like a great bell, vibrating the surrounding void and shattering the chaotic mist. When Ling Xiao was in the Void Saint world, he had already understood the secret of the physical sanctification realm. It was refining the body in the chaos. Any living being had to go through this step before their body could become immortal and indestructible. Just like the third level of the indestructible saint technique, rebirth from a drop of blood. To a certain extent, it could be considered immortal and indestructible. As long as a drop of blood and flesh existed, it would never die. Therefore, Ling Xiao decided to use the great path of chaos as the foundation of his body, which was also the foundation of his Tao. Rumble. As Ling Xiao gradually understood, the vast chaotic qi in the surroundings surged into his body. It contained a tremendous presence, causing his aura to become heavier, ancient, and mysterious. Ling Xiao was like a black hole, constantly devouring chaotic energy. However, not a single strand of energy leaked out. The purple indestructible disaster seed on his chest was like a sun, dazzling and dazzling. Strands of tribulation chi revolved around him, giving him a mysterious ripple that made him indestructible and invulnerable. Leakless real body. This was the second level of the myriad tribulations indestructible saint technique, the leakless true body. Ling Xiao had devoured an immeasurable amount of tribulation qi in the cyclic sky seal world and perfected his indestructible calamity seed. He had already shown the embryonic form of the leakless real body during his battle with Huang Wudao. Now that his Tao heart was perfected, he had finally broken through to the leakless real body realm. The leakless real body formed a small universe of its own. Ling Xiao's physical body had its own great path precepts. His entire body seemed to be condensed from the power of precepts. It was perfect and flawless, without any impurities. It locked in the vital energy, and precepts in his body, preventing any leakage. After condensing the leakless real body, Ling Xiao's physical body had greatly improved. More importantly, he could replenish his energy at any time and place. He would never run out of energy. Rumble. Before Ling Xiao could carefully comprehend the mysteries of the leakless real body, a mysterious power erupted from his body. The vast great path precepts descended and a destructive force rose from Ling Xiao's body. His physical body emitted a crisp sound as it began to shatter at a speed visible to the naked eye. The nirvana tribulation had descended. Ling Xiao's physical body was incomparably strong and he had even condensed the leakless real body. Therefore, his nirvana tribulation was hundreds of times more dangerous than others. The surrounding void trembled and chaos filled the air. The chaotic great path precepts passed through Ling Xiao's physical body. Dense tribulation qi, numbering in the thousands, exploded within Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao could feel his physical body disintegrating and his primordial spirit weakening. His divine power and precepts were flowing away. Even his heart force began to disperse. It was as if he was about to return to the void and enter an irreversible state. However, Ling Xiao didn't panic at all. He still guarded his mind and calmly accepted all of this without any sadness or joy. The nirvana tribulation was a tribulation of life and death. It was also a tribulation of rebirth. No one knew what was happening in the battle hall. However, the majestic Taoist rhyme emitted from the Enlightenment sage King Pil had also benefited Tiangang and the others greatly. All of them began to break through. Kacha. Tiangang, Xian Wang, Black Donkey, Iron Bull, and the others' cultivation had reached the pinnacle of the Divine King realm. Like water overflowing from a brimming Taoist rhyme, they finally understood their own Saint Tao and began to break through. Even the purple lightning lion was undergoing another nirvana tribulation and began to break through. Little junior brother, you've gone overboard this time. More than 10 people are undergoing the nirvana tribulation at the same time. This is really a magnificent feat. Lu Wenzheng couldn't help but laugh bitterly when he saw the state of Tiangang and the others. Lu Wenzheng wasn't worried about the cultivation of Tiangang and the others. Although they hadn't been in the Divine King realm for long, the flipping sky seal had changed the world when it appeared. The vast power of precepts had allowed them to lay a solid foundation. Now that they had comprehended the true meaning of the great path from the Enlightenment sage King Pil's Taoist rhyme, they had begun to undergo the nirvana tribulation. At that time, Lu Wenjing was most afraid of more than 10 people undergoing the Nirvana tribulation at the same time. If the Nirvana tribulation formed a chain reaction, the power would increase by several times or even dozens of times. Tiangang and the others wouldn't be able to withstand the Nirvana tribulation and would be in danger of dying. A group of troublesome brats. Looks like this old man has to help again. Lu Wenjing shook his head. A light flashed in his hand and a heaven-shrouding ancient talisman appeared. This heaven-shrouding ancient talisman was given to him by Ling Xiao. Lu Wenjing's calamity indestructible sacred technique had also reached the leakless real body. He also had the indestructible calamity seed in his body that could devour and refine the calamity chi. Ling Xiao's original intention was to let Lu Wenjing hold the heaven-shrouding ancient talisman and protect Tiangang and the others while they were breaking through. This would reduce the danger and allow them to break through to the Sage-to-Be realm safely. However, Ling Xiao and Lu Wenjing didn't expect such a change that would cause Tiangang and the others to break through at the same time. Rumble. Tiangang and the others sat cross-legged in front of the battle hall. Mysterious Taoist rhymes circulated around their bodies. A calamity chi burst out from their bodies and began to annihilate their bodies and vitality. Chapter 1708. Lu Wenjing's gaze turned solemn. The heaven-shrouding ancient talisman emitted a sparkling light that enveloped his entire body. His aura became faintly discernible, ethereal, and mysterious. Lu Wenjing didn't dare to be careless for a moment. He carefully observed the situation of Tiangang and the others, ready to take action at any time. Boom! 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 The power of nirvanic rebirth flowed around Heavenly Dipper and the others. Streams of tribulation chi wreaked havoc within their bodies. Their fleshly bodies began to crumble, transforming into a resplendent rain of light. It was as though they were returning to the void as their life force slowly dissipated. The Nirvana tribulation was a process of life and death. Especially the first Nirvana tribulation, it was extremely dangerous. The slightest carelessness could lead to the complete destruction of one's soul. Many Divine King realm experts had died when they were breaking through to the Sage-to-Be realm. Therefore, Lu Wenjing had been watching Tiangang and the others. He didn't dare to relax in the slightest. Suddenly, a divine light flashed in Lu Wenjing's eyes. He saw the tribulation chi flowing in Tiangang and the others' bodies begin to intertwine with each other. Surging nirvana force erupted. The force suddenly increased and began to oppress Tiangang and the others. They were like candles in the wind, trying their best to hold on. However, the nirvana force was becoming more and more terrifying. Not good. Lu Wenjing's expression changed. The thing he was most worried about had finally happened. The nirvana tribulation of Tiangang and the others had formed a chain reaction. Resplendent light bloomed and the vast tribulation chi formed a nirvana storm, enveloping the dozen of them. They were like candles in the wind, about to be extinguished at any time. Whoosh! Lu Wenjing's body flashed and he instantly appeared beside Tiangang and the others. His palms shone brightly as purple runes rose into the air. A purple calamity seed exuding a perfect and flawless ripple appeared in his palm. The vast tribulation chi hummed and trembled. It was instantly attracted by Lu Wenjing's indestructible tribulation seed and rushed towards it. Lu Wenjing began to refine the tribulation chi with the indestructible tribulation seed. He wanted to reduce the difficulty of Tiangang and the others' tribulation. Rumble. Lu Wenjing was shrouded by the sky-shrouding ancient talisman. His presence was ethereal and mysterious, but his indestructible calamity seed became the target of the endless calamity chi. Lu Wenjing didn't have the sky-devouring secret technique, so he couldn't refine the calamity chi as freely as Ling Xiao. He could only refine it one by one. However, the chain reaction of more than 10 people crossing the nirvana tribulation at the same time was too terrifying. Tribulation chi rose up like a terrifying storm. Even if Lu Wenjing was powerful, without the powerful devouring power of the heaven-devouring secret technique, his efficiency in resolving the tribulation chi was very limited. Little junior brother, you've really gone overboard this time. Lu Wenjing smiled bitterly as he channeled his tribulation seed with all his might, devouring the tribulation chi that filled the skies to help Heavenly Dipper and the others overcome their tribulations. However, the Nirvana tribulations were getting more and more terrifying. Crack! Lightning flashed across the sky as the figures of Tiangang and the rest transformed into a rain of light, intertwining with each other in the sky as they underwent a metamorphosis in the Nirvana tribulation. The Nirvana tribulation was incomparably terrifying. It constantly wiped away the vitality of Tiangang and the others, making it impossible for them to form a new physical body to overcome the Nirvana tribulation. Even with Lu Wenjing's devouring power, the Nirvana tribulation was still extremely terrifying. Rumble. Suddenly, the door of the battle hall opened. Rays of chaotic light rose up, as if a chaotic vortex was spreading out, emitting energy fluctuations that could devour everything. The tribulation chi that enveloped Tiangang and the others were like fish dragons entering the sea. They began to surge into the battle hall and were devoured by the chaotic vortex. "Senior brother, leave it to me." Ling Zhao's voice was indifferent and ethereal. It rang out from the battle hall, causing the void to tremble slightly. "All right. Little junior brother, you can't do this again. If you do it again, I won't be able to withstand your scares." Lu Wenjing heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Since Ling Zhao had taken action, Tiangang and the others were already out of danger. The chain reaction formed by the Nirvana tribulation was quickly restored under the devouring power of the heaven-devouring secret technique. The vitality of Tiangang and the others also began to erupt. Mysterious rays of light lingered around them as they formed a new physical body. Rumble. Numerous incomparably powerful auras soared up into the clouds, exuding boundless energy waves. Tiangang and the others seemed to have walked out from the primordial chaos. Their silhouettes appeared once more, but the auras they exuded were several times stronger than before. Every one of them was emitting a faint sage aura, which made them even more extraordinary. There was a mysterious fluctuation that was untainted by karma and invulnerable to all techniques. First Revolution Half-Saint. They had all broken through to the First Revolution Half-Saint realm. Kacha. Tiangong's vital energy and blood surged to the sky. Mysterious rays of light lingered around his body. It was as if runes were emerging from his body, forming a huge seal that sealed the majestic vital energy and blood in his body. One could faintly see that there was an incomparably terrifying chaotic figure in Tiangong's body. It was stepping on the chaotic void, and its head was above the firmament. It was immortal and indestructible. Lu Wenjing couldn't help but be secretly shocked by the terrifying aura fluctuations. What kind of bloodline does Tiangang have? Lu Wenjing's heart trembled. He could feel that after Tiangang broke through to the half-saint realm, the seal in his body showed signs of breaking. Rumble. A bolt of lightning exploded as an ancient and terrifying roar of rage rang out from within Heavenly Dipper's body. The chi and blood in his body instantly erupted forth, akin to the roar of a tsunami. That terrifying aura caused the others to be pushed away. Tiangong's black hair fluttered in the wind, and his body glowed. His body seemed to contain an incomparably terrifying power. Starting from the space between his eyebrows, to his heart and dantian, a powerful seal suddenly broke apart. A mysterious aura appeared, adding a mysterious aura to Tiangang. He was like a heavenly emperor, invincible in the heavens and earth. Tiangong's sealed Pangu bloodline had finally broken out. Fortunately, the entire War Mountain was sealed by the flipping sky seal. Tiangong's bloodline aura had not leaked out. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Swoosh! Boundless chaotic energy gushed out from the war hall. Ling Zhao strolled out from the war hall. His robe was whiter than snow, and his body was surrounded by a faint saint aura. The chaotic energy emitted from his body gave him an illusory aura fluctuation. At this moment, Ling Zhao gave off a very strange feeling. He stood there, but there was a mysterious fluctuation that made people feel as if there was nothing in front of them. It seems like everyone has broken through. Very good. However, senior brother, the seal in your body has been broken. You should know the consequences of breaking the seal. Take this heaven-shrouding ancient talisman with you. Don't let your aura leak out. Chapter 1709. The sky-shrouding talisman could conceal Tiangang's aura. Otherwise, once his Pangu bloodline erupted, it would be extremely troublesome if the experts of the Heavenly Curse sect and the Chinese discovered it. Thank you, Hall Master. Tiangang's eyes shone with gratitude. Although breaking through to the half-step saint realm was a joyous occasion, he also knew the consequences if his Pangu bloodline was leaked. Ling Xiao was also thinking that it was time to bring Tiangang to see Pangu Feng and the others in the cyclic sky seal world. Perhaps they would have some way to help Pangu Feng continue hiding his Pangu bloodline. Whoosh! With a flash, the cyclic sky seal returned to Ling Xiao's hand. The barrier that enveloped the entire mountain vanished as well. Outside the mountain, there were many figures with powerful auras. They were all elders and true disciples of the War God Hall. Their eyes were filled with curiosity. They had no idea what had happened on the mountain. Senior Uncle Long has actually broken through to the half-step saint realm? No wonder the mountain has been sealed for 3 days. It's because Senior Uncle Long has broken through. A disciple could not help but exclaim when he saw Ling Xiao's cultivation. No. Look at the other disciples of the War God Hall. They've all broken through to the half-step saint realm. Heavens, isn't that too unbelievable? Someone exclaimed, as though he had seen a ghost. His gaze landed on Tiangang and the others, his eyes filled with disbelief. 3 days ago, most of the disciples of Battle Hall were still in the Divine King realm. Battle Mountain had been sealed off for 3 days, but all of them had broken through to the half-step saint realm. Moreover, it was a collective advancement. This was too shocking. The faces of the disciples and elders outside War Mountain were filled with horror. However, their shock did not last for long. 3 days had passed, and Ling Xiao's promotion ceremony was about to begin. The promotion ceremony this time caused an uproar in the entire War God Hall. It was a grand occasion. Countless disciples and elders came out of seclusion. They wanted to see the new master of the War God Hall. Ling Xiao did not feel much about the promotion ceremony. However, it was a grand occasion for the entire sect. It was also a symbol of the rise of the War God Hall. As a result, Ling Xiao was extremely cooperative with the promotion ceremony this time. The promotion ceremony was held in a sea of clouds between the 9 sacred mountains. The several 100,000 disciples and elders of the War God Temple had all come to participate. The white-clothed War God and the other 8 palace masters also appeared. The etiquette of the promotion ceremony was very complicated. One needed to worship the heavens and earth, worship the ancestors of the War God Temple, burn incense, wait quietly, and bless the crown, and so on. Ling Xiao completed these steps extremely calmly and steadily. Moreover, he accepted the worship of countless disciples and elders of the War God Hall. I didn't expect this martial granduncle Long to be so young. I heard that he's not even 100 years old, right? Becoming the Battle Hall Master at such a young age is truly enviable. However, Battle Hall has been in decline for so many years. It won't be easy for them to regain their glory from 1,000,000 years ago. This young martial granduncle's talent is extraordinary. His promotion to the Battle Hall Master has overshadowed the 3 saints. Everyone discussed animatedly, their eyes filled with different expressions. Ling Xiao's expression was incomparably calm, as if he didn't hear the discussions of others at all. This kind of limelight might make others go wild with joy, but Ling Xiao was able to treat it calmly. In Ling Xiao's view, apart from his own strength, everything else was just an illusion. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he noticed a purple-robed middle-aged man among the 8 palace masters. He looked tall, handsome, and dignified, but Ling Xiao felt a faint trace of hostility from him. The Thunder Hall Master, Lei Xuanji. It's fine if you don't provoke me. But if you dare to provoke me, I won't be polite either. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. Lei Xuanji was a saint, but he was hostile towards him. It was probably because of Zhang Tianqing. Ling Xiao also heard that Zhang Tianqing was Lei Xuanji's disciple. The promotion ceremony is complete. Everyone, pay your respects to the battle hall master. As the voice of an elder resounded in the sky above the war god temple, Ling Xiao had already walked up to the sky and stood beside the white-clothed war god, standing side by side with the other 8 palace masters. Above the void, clouds and mist lingered, and the momentum was vast. The white-clothed war god and the 8 palace masters were all saints. Only Ling Xiao, who had just broken through to the sage-to-be realm, stood out. Greetings to the battle hall master. Throughout the war god temple, all the disciples and elders below the saint realm bowed to Ling Xiao. Their voices shook the sky, and their momentum was majestic. Although most of them were sincerely happy, after all, Ling Xiao's demeanor of injuring Huang Tai on War Mountain 3 days ago made them admire him greatly. However, there were still a few people whose faces were ugly. Lei Qianjue, Xing Jun, and the others felt extremely sullen, and their faces were ugly. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao's status was higher than theirs, which was hard for them to accept. Ling Xiao stood in the sky, looking down at the people of the war god temple, and his expression was calm. He said slowly, "Everyone, please rise." Everyone raised their heads, and their eyes fell on Ling Xiao. I was young and unvirtuous, and I was blessed by the war god Qi Long. I have the flipping sky seal, and I am valued by the war god. I have been promoted to the position of battle hall master, and I am terrified. I know that I have a heavy responsibility, and I can only work hard to cultivate and become a saint as soon as possible. I want to restore the glory of the war god temple and do my part for the war god temple. The war god temple was founded on war, and we fought against the heavens and the earth. We fought against all enemies, and we were ranked as one of the 12 immortal sacred grounds of the god realm. I hope that everyone in my war god temple will not be afraid of strong enemies. I hope that everyone in my war god temple will be unyielding, and unyielding. We, the disciples of the war god temple, never shrink from a fight. Ling Xiao's voice was extremely calm, and it resounded in the sky above the war god temple. However, there was a sense of excitement in his voice, and all the disciples of the war god temple were excited, and their blood was boiling. That's right, we, the disciples of the war god temple, never shrink from a fight. Ha ha ha. What Martial Uncle Long said is right, and he has done it. Even if his strength is not as good as mine for now, just based on his actions, I admire him. Many disciples said as they looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of fanaticism. That's right. The war god temple had been suppressed for too long. Ever since the great calamity a million years ago, the war god temple had been suppressed by people with ulterior motives, and it had begun to weaken. Even the disciples of the war god temple had become cautious in these years, and they would even swallow their anger. However, every disciple of the war god temple was unwilling to accept this. Ling Xiao's words had ignited the blood that had been suppressed for a long time, and every one of them was so excited that they could not control themselves. At this moment, all the disciples of the 9 factions, regardless of whether they had conflicts or not, thought of Ling Xiao's words. Chapter 1710. This boy is so good at stirring up people's hearts. The eyes of the other 8 hall masters all revealed strange looks, as though they were getting to know Ling Xiao all over again. But they also saw that Ling Xiao's words had an immeasurable effect on the unity of the people of War God Temple. Something seemed to be budding in the hearts of all the disciples of War God Temple. Of course, the main reason for this wasn't because of Ling Xiao's words. It was because of the glorious battle 3 days ago. That battle had ignited the morale and passion of the disciples of the War God Hall, and it had even cleared the name of the War God Hall. So now, a sentence of, "We are the disciples of War God Temple, why would we shrink from a battle," was enough to make everyone's blood boil. White-clothed War God's eyes flashed with a trace of splendor. He glanced at Ling Xiao indifferently. His eyes were incomparably deep, and no one knew what he was thinking. This boy must not be allowed to live. Lei Xuanji's face was indifferent, but the killing intent in his heart was more and more intense. For some reason, although Ling Zhao's cultivation was only at first revolution half-saint, Lei Xuanji felt an inexplicable threat. After the promotion ceremony, Ling Xiao and White-Clothed War God came to Heaven Battling World. The Celestial Battle World was the core secret ground of the War God Temple. Only the Saint Forefathers and the 9 Hallmasters of the War God Temple were qualified to enter the Celestial Battle World to cultivate. This place contained boundless saint force, enough to satisfy the cultivation needs of saints. War God, why did you bring me here? Ling Xiao asked curiously. It was also his first time entering Heaven Battling World. Ling Xiao could feel that there was a vast amount of saint power in Heaven Battling World, and there were dozens of incomparably powerful auras. Each of them was like a blazing sun in the sky, exuding fluctuations that made people's hearts tremble. These were all saints. The saint ancestors of War God Temple were also the foundation of War God Temple. Long Outyen, are you an ascender from the mortal world? White-Clothed War God suddenly turned around and looked at Ling Xiao indifferently. Although the White-Clothed War God was shrouded in a bright light, his face could not be seen, but his eyes were incomparably bright, as if he could see through Ling Zhao's heart. Ling Zhao's body trembled, but on the surface, he was incomparably calm as he said, Lord War God, you must be joking. Rumor has it that the door to the God realm has been closed for 1,000,000 years and has yet to open. How could I be an ascender? Ling Xiao was thinking quickly. He had the secret skill of shrouding the sky. It was reasonable to say that the White-Clothed War God should not be able to see his details, let alone his identity as an ascender. What went wrong? The White-Clothed War God said lightly, you should know Heng Tianzhao, right? He was the son of Heng Ji, the Hall Master of the Fire Temple. Heng Tianzhao had a divine ability that was blessed by the saint, which allowed him to send back news of his death. Not only Heng Tianzhao, but the 6 true gods of the lower realm also had all kinds of backup plans. According to the news from Heng Tianzhao, the person who killed him was called Ling Xiao, and he had obtained the wordless heavenly book. And you have the aura of the wordless heavenly book. If I'm not wrong, your real name should be Ling Xiao, right? Heng Tianzhao. So they had a backup plan left by the saint. No wonder even I didn't find it. The War God is right, I am Ling Xiao. Does the War God also want to take away the wordless heavenly book? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he said slowly. At this moment, he was on guard. The light of the flipping sky seal was dense, as if it would launch a thunderous attack at the White-Clothed War God at any time. Ling Xiao knew that the White-Clothed War God in front of him was unfathomable. Perhaps his strength was stronger than Huang Tai. Ling Xiao had no confidence in facing him, but Ling Xiao was sure to escape. As long as he used the flipping sky seal to block the White-Clothed War God for a moment, he could mobilize the power of the Heart Realm and then move into the Taishu Temple. Ling Xiao. Good name. You don't have to be so nervous. You are the disciple of the Scarlet Dragon War God, that is my junior martial uncle, and I have no interest in the wordless heavenly book. It is yours, I won't take it. The White-Clothed War God said calmly. War God, what is your relationship with the Master? Ling Xiao could feel that the White-Clothed War God was real and not pretentious. He relaxed a little, but still did not relax his vigilance. Instead, he asked. I am just an admirer of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Junior martial uncle, if I didn't guess wrong, you should have relied on the 9 primal chaos tablets to come to the God realm. Can you tell me what happened in the mortal world? About the Scarlet Dragon War God. The White-Clothed War God sighed, but Ling Xiao was keenly aware that when he mentioned the Scarlet Dragon War God, the White-Clothed War God's eyes had a complicated look. I also accidentally got the wordless heavenly book and the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God. It's a long story, Ling Xiao nodded. Since his identity had been exposed, then he had nothing to hide. Moreover, he could detect with the secret of fate that the White-Clothed War God did not have any malice to him, and even had an inexplicable sense of intimacy. Ling Xiao told the White-Clothed War God about what happened in the lower realm. Except for some key points, Ling Xiao did not say anything else. Everything else was told to the White-Clothed War God. I didn't expect that so many things had happened in the lower realm for millions of years. The white-clothed war god listened to Ling Xiao quietly. After Ling Xiao finished, she also sighed. War god, the great calamity of the war god temple a million years ago was also because of the wordless heavenly book? Ling Xiao asked. He was very curious about what happened a million years ago. Maybe he could find the whereabouts of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Ling Xiao always felt that maybe the Scarlet Dragon War God was not dead. It's because of the wordless heavenly book. But that great calamity involved the great calamity between the God realm and the Devil realm, and my War God temple was just a catalyst. The white-clothed War God said slowly. With his narration, combined with the memory of the Scarlet Dragon War God, Ling Xiao gradually understood what had happened. It turned out that a million years ago, the news that the Scarlet Dragon War God had obtained the wordless heavenly book spread out. Many experts in the entire God realm were alarmed. In particular, the legend said that the previous owner of the wordless heavenly book was the Devil Emperor of the Devil realm. The wordless heavenly book was an ominous thing. Many saints wanted the Scarlet Dragon War God to hand over the wordless heavenly book. Naturally, the Scarlet Dragon War God could not hand it over. At that time, the relationship between the God realm and the Devil realm was tense. A large-scale war of gods and devils was set off. The previous generation of War God, the master of the Scarlet Dragon War God, died in battle. The Scarlet Dragon War God took over the position of War God. The saints of other immortal Holy Land descended on the War God Temple and wanted the Scarlet Dragon War God to hand over the wordless heavenly book. The Scarlet Dragon of War wielded the flipping sky seal and the wordless heavenly book. He launched an earth-shattering battle with many sages who had come to coerce him. As a half-saint, he went against the heavens and killed many sages. The Devil race also had experts descend on the War God Temple. The War God Temple had a river of blood. Many experts of the War God Temple also died. Finally, the Scarlet Dragon War God left the War God Temple in order not to implicate the War God Temple, and fled to the lower world. Ling Xiao had seen some of the great calamity in the memory of the Scarlet Dragon War God before, but those were very vague and incomplete. Now he got a complete answer from the white-clothed War God. With the cultivation of semi-sage, he went against the heavens and killed the saints. Master is really a peerless talent. Chapter 1711. Ling Xiao, since you have inherited the wordless heavenly book, you must follow the will of the Scarlet Dragon War God and carry forward the battle hall. But the wordless heavenly book is not only a great opportunity, but also a great danger. Once the wordless heavenly book is exposed, I am afraid you will be the enemy of the whole world. Even the War God Temple and I can't protect you. You must improve your strength as soon as possible, at least have the cultivation of the sage realm, so that you can have a certain degree of self-protection. The white-clothed War God looked at Ling Xiao and said seriously. Lord War God, rest assured, I will naturally work hard to strengthen the battle hall and fulfill the Master's wish. It's just that I don't understand one thing. I have the wordless heavenly book, and I use the heaven-shrouding secret technique to hide my aura. I am confident that I can hide from the sage. How did Lord War God find me? Ling Xiao nodded and asked the doubts in his heart. The heaven-shrouding secret technique is really powerful. Even I can hardly detect your aura. But I can feel the aura of the wordless heavenly book. Because I have also refined the wordless heavenly book, but you can rest assured that as long as you don't deliberately expose it, others can't detect the aura of the wordless heavenly book. The white-clothed War God said calmly. Refine the wordless heavenly book? Ling Xiao couldn't help but be moved. It seems that the relationship between the white-clothed War God and the Scarlet Dragon War God is not shallow. It seems that they should have known each other a million years ago. But what puzzles Ling Xiao is that the white-clothed War God should call the Scarlet Dragon War God granduncle. What is their relationship? However, Ling Xiao can't ask this kind of question, he can only guess secretly. The white-clothed War God changed his tone. Ling Xiao, there is a good opportunity. Maybe it can help you become a sage in a million years. If you can seize this opportunity, even if the wordless heavenly book is exposed in the future, you should have enough power to protect yourself. What opportunity? Ling Xiao asked. The chosen one is about to begin. The white-clothed war god said slowly, his eyes showing a hint of sharpness. The chosen one. Is it the chosen one that is known as the most important event in the world, the emperor's chosen one? Ling Xiao's whole body shook, and his eyes showed a hint of shock. The chosen one that the white-clothed war god spoke of was naturally different from the chosen one that Ling Xiao participated in the war god realm. The Scarlet Dragon War God had borrowed the name of the God World's Heavenly Selection Convention to establish the God World's Heavenly Selection Convention. Strictly speaking, it wasn't a Heavenly Selection Convention. As for the true Heavenly Selection Convention, it was the #1 convention in the heavens. At the end of each epoch, the origin of the divine world would open, forming a mysterious region that attracted countless geniuses from all over the universe to participate. There were endless opportunities there, and at the same time, it was also the place where countless geniuses from all over the universe would battle. Countless peerless heavens prides and monstrous geniuses would compete for all kinds of opportunities in the Heaven's Choice Convention, and compete for the fortune of becoming a sovereign. But the Heavenly Chosen Council was about to appear, which also meant that this era was about to end. This era was an opportunity for the human race. The human race had gone through hardships to reach glory. The reputation of the 9 Thearchs shone brightly. However, when the era ended and the great calamity descended, the human race would be the first to bear the brunt. They might even be in danger of dying. For countless epochs, there were countless brilliant civilizations and powerful races that disappeared in the great calamity. Thinking of the great calamity, the excitement of the Heavenly Selection Convention dissipated a lot. Ling Xiao's heart became incomparably worried. The current God world was very awkward. The human race hadn't had a sovereign for tens of millions of years. If it weren't for the barrier of the God world, the demon world would have invaded long ago. Once the era ended and the great calamity descended, the human race would lose the barrier of the God world. It would be a devastating blow to the human race. I'm afraid you've also thought of it. The arrival of the Heavenly Selection Convention also means that this era is about to end. The great calamity in the future is destined to be incomparably tragic. Divine Tao experts are just ants. Only by confirming the Tao and becoming a saint can they have the power to protect themselves. Especially after the 100-year period, when the great gate of the God world opens again, your identity is destined to be exposed. So in this Heavenly Selection Convention, you must seize the opportunity and strive to confirm the Tao and become a saint as soon as possible. The War God in White said seriously. Many thanks for the information, War God. This Heavenly Selection Convention is indeed my best opportunity. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and nodded. Speaking of the Heavenly Selection Convention, Ling Xiao was even looking forward to it. To be able to fight with the countless Heaven's chosen experts from all over the world, and even the peerless experts who had been sealed since ancient times would gather in the Heavenly Selection Convention and become a furnace of heaven and earth to compete for the opportunity to become a sovereign. Ling Xiao was also looking forward to it. The Heavenly Selection Convention should start within these few years. You should prepare well. I heard from Ni Shang that you're going to the great Zhou Divine Nation's Wuzong Mountain. Although you now have the cyclic sky seal, you still have to be careful. Especially Huang Tai, he will definitely seek revenge for the smallest grievance. You made him suffer such a great humiliation, he will definitely not be satisfied. The War God in White warned. Rest assured, War God, I will be careful. Ling Xiao nodded and left the War God temple. Without the support of Zhan Mountain Saint Dao Resonance, even if he had the cyclic sky seal, it would be difficult for him to be Huang Tai's opponent. However, the Thunder Spirit King's breakthrough was imminent. Once the Thunder Spirit King broke through, Ling Xiao's cultivation would definitely increase greatly. At that time, if Huang Tai dared to make a move, it would be hard to say who would win and who would lose. Ling Xiao, when you return from the Wuzong Mountain, I will convene a meeting of the Supreme Elders and fight for the qualification to comprehend the heaven battling secret skill for you. The War God in White suddenly said to Ling Xiao. Heaven battling secret skill. When Ling Xiao heard this news, he couldn't help but tremble and a trace of anticipation appeared in his eyes. Was the heaven battling secret skill, one of the 12 sky arts, finally going to be in his hands? Even the 14th ranked heaven-devouring secret skill was so terrifying. One could imagine how powerful the 12 sky arts were. The heaven-battling secret skill was the core secret of the War God Temple. Only the War God and the successor of the War God were qualified to comprehend it. Even the Supreme Elders were not qualified to comprehend the heaven-battling secret skill without the permission of the Supreme Elders. War God, I'm afraid the Supreme Elders won't allow me to comprehend the heaven-battling secret skill, right? After all, the heaven-battling secret skill is too important. Ling Xiao asked. After all, he was only a one-turn half-saint. Even the 3 holy sons and the other 8 temple masters could rarely comprehend the heaven-battling secret skill. It would be extremely difficult for him to comprehend the heaven-battling secret skill. Don't worry, I will arrange it. It is said that there is a secret skill in the Wuzong Mountain. If you can get it, it will be a great opportunity. However, it doesn't matter if you can't get it. Your safety is the priority. The War God in white said slowly.